For tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. Here we are, week 279 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. It's February, the 15th, 2024. The time is just moving right along, Cleveland. Time is just moving right along. So, fans, give yourself a round of applause for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. Those of you who have made it, we appreciate your time. Fans, we're gonna get the show started like we do each and every week, just like this.
Who am I speaking to right now?
Cameron.
My name
Cameron.
Cam Buford.
Who am I speaking to right now?
Cameron.
My name
Cameron.
Cam Buford.
Hey, it's Peter Rosenberg. I'm hanging on my man Cameron Buford right here.
I'm a Dolphin fan.
This is a big year for Tua to prove that he's a franchise quarterback.
I'm more a fan of boxing. Boxing is my main sport.
As a competitor, how much does that competitive spirit get in there and say, I want to fight this guy. I want to get some of this guy.
Of course I want to fight all the guys. Of course that. But at the same time, like I keep telling you, it's a business.
Talk about that loyalty for a moment.
I'm staying there to try to make a change. Get back to the youth, get back to my community and show them that there is hope that you can make it out. Only thing is you just gotta be dedicated. You gotta keep your head down and stay on this course that you're heading towards.
Think about it like this: the promoter pays the fighter pays the manager.
Okay.
So the manager works for the fighter, and the fighter works
for the promoter. Okay.
If you can see, you can believe.
So you are lifting weights currently?
When he said it's easier to score in the NBA versus Europe, did you agree with him?
To me, it's easy to score all over the world.
On your team, is Paul number 2 option or your number 3 option? On Kenny Smith's team. 30 nights a year, he's my number 1 option. 30 nights.
Can I finish?
Right now?
Do you want me to speak or do you want to conduct the interview and answer for me?
What do you
Which
think,
one?
What do you think about these upcoming?
Okay. Like I was saying before.
Well, every game's a new game, so each one's a different experience, different defense, different players, different game plan. So.
Aaron, what has the game of baseball taught you?
One of the biggest things is being humble.
Can you give a message to the kids to kind of persevere through the false teachings they may be giving?
Patience.
Okay.
Patience.
As the show Voice of the Fan
Oh my goodness!
continues to
I'm in
evolve,
You were adding some spice to it.
it is strictly banter back and forth between myself and Cameron Buford.
I enjoy all of it.
Real ones know what's going on, right?
Like you said, Pacific Northwest, so I think it's a big part of my game, and every time I step on the floor, I just want to represent myself.
You play this game and you don't turn to win a championship, then why are you playing for?
I'm happy for the Mariners. I'm happy
Yeah,
for all
yeah,
that.
no, yeah, Cam, nobody.
Never mind.
Go watch the tape. Go watch the tape, and then you tell me if it was all about just a system.
Look like a buffoon.
Go do your research. Go do your study.
I'm not caught up to you guys yet. I do
Real, real surprised at that, Cam.
Hey, come here. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, this guy.
That's what's good in sports, man. It's Big Snoop Dogg, man.
That's what's good in sports. Hey, man, thanks for making our voice your choice. You know how we do. Yeah.
What's good, fan? Again, always get the move, man, and talk some crap after watching that video. You saw a little cameo from your boy Carmelo in there. You should have liked that. I did that specifically for you.
I appreciate that.
Carmelo gave us some good stuff that in that particular interview. He gave us some good stuff in there. I mean, we had a little James Brown clip. What was your favorite little clip of that video or that little montage there?
Oh, without question, man. It's Emmett scolding you. Go do your research. Go do your studying. Yeah.
That was a hilarious moment too. I mean, that just kind of shows how cool Emmett was though. Because that was a hilarious moment. Did I tell you the story of how that happened when we were talking about?
Refresh my memory.
That was shortly. That was during the running back was holding out for the Chargers, Melvin Gordon. That's when Melvin Gordon was holding out for the Chargers.
Yes.
And so we're talking about.
And then you threw out some wrong information about the
No, it wasn't that.
Between the two holdouts, and he was like, whoa. And he jumped off the top elbow and smacked you right in the middle of your forehead.
That was funny. He said, no, our situation was not like that. We're nothing like the same. He said, go do your research. Go do your studies. That was hilarious. Because he stayed and chopped it up with us, man, for a good 5 minutes, man. It was that was hysterical, man. That was hysterical. But Reggie Miller, that shit was funny too, though. That really, it kind of in the moment, looking back at it, in the moment, I was just talking to him. Again, I didn't have the camera, so it's real cool. It's fun when I don't have a camera in my hand. When I had a camera in my hand, I know I have the camera in my hand. You know what I'm saying? When I don't have a camera in my hand, I'm just talking. I'm just really, and that's that moment. Me and Reggie, somebody was holding the camera for us, and me and Reggie was talking. Reggie was cool, and so I was asking him about Trae Young. Trae Young was a rookie. He hadn't been drafted yet. And so I was asking him about the what rookies was he looking at? And then he's like, Trae Young. Well, a lot of people say Trae Young is like Stephen Curry. That's the first thing he said out of his mouth. And I said, You know what I think about Trae Young. Reggie Miller, you're not sitting here trying to compare Trae Young and Steph Curry, are you? And he's like, wait, I didn't even finish yet. Can I finish? He's like, do you want to interview? And he said, do you want to ask me the questions and answer for me too? That was kind of funny too. I mean, he kind of caught me right there. He caught me right there. So that was kind of funny too. Fans, we want to thank you guys for tuning in again to Voice of the Fans podcast. We appreciate you guys tuning in.
Barry Sports.
What's up, Barry? Usually this is an off day for us, but because yesterday was Lover's Day and Cleveland wanted to go get his love on. What was for dinner last night? Where'd you guys go?
Oh man, had a fantastic, spectacular meal. My wife is like a Michelin star cook, so made some chicken and pasta. Had a nice cheesecake dessert. It was awesome.
Did you pop up some bubbly or something? What kind of wine was on the table?
Oh yeah, had some Lambrusco of some sort. Man, it went very well with the chicken and the pasta. Man, yeah, it was quite a compliment to the dish.
Okay, well, happy Lover's Day to everybody who celebrated it. As you know, we had the Super Bowl on Sunday, so we're gonna give you a Super Bowl recap. The Chiefs won. I put out an article, fans, voiceofthefans.org. I put an article. You can very clearly know where I stand with Mr. Patrick Mahomes. If you haven't heard the story, Cleveland will tell you. Cleveland will remind you guys, fans. I like to watch preseason games. I don't know how many of you guys like to watch preseason games. I like to watch preseason games for two reasons. I like to see how new teams are forming when they get their addition and how rookies kind of transition onto the team. And it gives you an idea of how the coach is going to play these rookies. You get a chance to see these rookies on the team and how they perform in the NFL. That's the only reason I watch college football, to see if a guy can make it to the NFL. And then I watch it to see the preseason, to see how these guys transition into the NFL. And then so I want to watch the teams come together, how the teams integrate the new rookies onto their team, and then kind of get an idea how this team performing, from last year. Now, going into this season, I want to see how the Philadelphia Eagles look. Now, a lot of teams aren't, because they're three preseason games. A lot of teams now this year are resting their players and they don't play at all. I think the Philadelphia Eagles should be playing their players at least 2 of those 3 games, because they need to get back on track, right? Everybody would agree that the second half of the season was shit for the Philadelphia Eagles. So they need to fix that. They need to get on track. We need to see them in preseason games kind of get back to what they were the previous year, Super Bowl contenders. So that's one team I'll be looking forward to see play next season. Another team I'll be looking forward to see is the Chargers. See this new look Charger team. The roster is going to change in a bunch of ways, but now they have a head coach. They have a head coach who's going to be doing different things with the roster. So we want to see what the Chargers are going to be doing with this new team in preseason. I bring that up to say this. What was it, 7 years ago? I was watching the Chiefs. Happened to watch the Chiefs on You know, that final preseason game where Andy Reid didn't start Alex Smith in that final preseason game. He decided to give his rookie quarterback, Mr. Patrick Mahomes out of Texas Tech, a chance to play with the starters. He had it in his mind. He's going to sit him all season long. I don't know how he does it. That's like having the cheesecake dessert that your wife served on last night. That's like having that cheesecake dessert sitting on the table with the little glass little cover over top of it, just sitting there for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. Cleveland, how long is it going to take you to dig into that damn cheesecake? Probably not very long. What Andy Reid did had Patrick Mahomes sitting on the bench his entire, well, no, what was it? They played 16 games. He had him sitting on the bench for 15 of those games. But he played him that rookie year. He played him his rookie season. He played the final preseason game with the starters. I saw right then, Cleveland, and I told you this. Put that young kid in. That young kid throw the ball down the field where the other quarterback was dinking and dunk master. He was, you talking about, you want to call Brock Purdy a dinking and dunker. He doesn't throw past a 15-yard past the field. That was Alex Smith's game. Alex Smith, I don't want to say he invented that, but over his career, he probably threw the ball 6 times down past the 20-yard mark. He was dinking and dunking, the running back out the backfield, the tight end over the middle. That's Alex Smith's game, and he'll just walk you guys down the field if he could until you guys come up. He was never going deep. But Patrick Mahomes came in there, and he was the defense was thrown away because Patrick Mahomes he wasn't dinking and dunking. He was throwing as far as he could downfield. The young guy wants to test out his arm like you get a new car. You want to step on it and go as fast. When the first time you're behind the wheel of a sports car, you want to test it out, see how fast it's going. You want to test it out, take it down Super Park Boulevard, see how you hug the curves, right? Patrick Mahomes was letting that thing go. I said, that's the guy right there. Did I not? Did I not say that from that one preseason game?
Cam, you were very much ahead of the curve when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, and we're pushing for someone that had already, kind of established himself as an NFL starter in this league, and someone that you could depend on and rely on. And there was a tremendous amount of reluctance on my part to say, "Oh yeah, just pass it over to Patrick Mahomes," who had not had a real illustrious college career. I mean, he did some things at Texas Tech, but nothing to say like, wow, this is
who's Texas Tech?
Quite possibly the best quarterback in the history of football. I didn't see that. So when you were seeing it in a preseason, I thought it was premature, and I was wrong about that. You were spot on.
And what did you tell me, Cleveland?
I said he should sit behind Alex Smith, the game manager, and wait his turn.
Hold on, let's see if I can get this working. What did you tell me, Cleveland?
You look like a buffoon.
Oh, well, I may have said that as well.
No, in all seriousness, fans, I saw that guy being able to throw the ball downfield, and I thought he was a guy. We had seen enough of Alex Smith dinking and dunking. Alex Smith led them to I think a 10-6 record, and then ultimately into the playoffs. I forget off the top of my head. I think it was the conference playoffs. They didn't make the AFC Championship, but the very next year, when Patrick Mahomes got a chance to start, he threw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. He did have Mr. Cheetah. He was throwing to Mr. Cheetah, so that made a difference. But that showed you what that guy was capable of as soon as he got the ball. So we're going to talk about the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about the NBA. Give you an NBA update. Is All-Star Weekend getting started this weekend? Hey, I'm not in Indianapolis, but it is what it is. All-Star Weekend is starting this weekend. We got a little boxing talk. Obviously, we got our segment This Week in History that we're going to talk about, fans, and we're going to hit you guys up with. So thank you guys again for tuning in. Cleveland, February 15th, 2024, week 279 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. Each and every week, Cleveland, we start our show off with the numbers game. When you think of the number 15, who wore that jersey number the best, or who comes to your mind first?
You know, Cam, coming off of Sunday's performance, I would have to say Patrick Mahomes for both questions.
Definitely. Oddly enough, that wasn't the first person to come to mind, but I agree he was probably the first one to worry best. Jeff Hostetler, man, Jeff Hostetler. Is Jeff Hostetler underrated, man? He came off the bench and won a Super Bowl for the Giants. Do you remember that with O.J. Anderson against the Buffalo Bills? The semi dynasty. Do you remember Jeff Hostetler?
I do, and no, he's not underrated.
Yeah, that's cold. No, you're cold. When you think of the number 79, Cleavon, who wore that jersey number the best, or who's the first person to come to your mind?
You know, Cam, the first person to come to mind is Jacob Green. Can't think of another dominant 79, so I'm gonna have to say he wore it the best.
Harvey Martin. Harvey Martin's another guy, but Jacob Green, yeah, the Seahawks sack leader, 97 sacks. He played that position. Big dude played that position for a long time. I mean, Jacob Green, Jeff Bryant, Joe Nash. I mean, that was a solid defensive line for a long time. Like, those guys were solid right there. They were solid. They did some good things for the Seattle Seahawks, man. Cleveland. So let's talk about this first. The Kansas City Chiefs parade. They had shots were fired by some juveniles at the Kansas City Chiefs parade that was downtown Kansas City. One person was dead, 20 injured by juveniles apparently in an argument, having a beef with each other. Went to the car, got some guns, and started shooting people. Sad occurrence. Sad state of affairs where we are here in America. That it's just the gun over the progressive years. I mean, guns have been there's too many guns out there. There's too many guns out there. Too many citizens has guns. I want to ask you what you think about the open carry law, because some states have open carry. Missouri happened to be one of them, where you can openly carry a gun. Just walking down the street, you can have a gun in your gun box, no problem. They fought the state of Missouri fought against having restrictions on who can carry guns. I personally had a gun. But it's a good thing that my gun got stolen years and years ago, because I probably would have used a gun and on somebody, and then things would probably obviously wouldn't end up with. What's your thoughts on the open carry law? Is there anything that can be done, or is it just the cat's out the box now? Just kind of like, where are we with the guns? Good in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, the cat's out the box. As much as I would like to put it back in, and just have regulation and control from that perspective, I don't think that's something that's a realistic expectation. Unfortunately, guns are just a part of our lives. You hope that people use them responsibly, but I don't know how much confidence most people really have in that, which is why more people want guns. It's more of the paranoia as opposed to really trying to have it to, you're having it to protect yourself against the crazies, as opposed to because it's really something that you want to do. Is how I feel about it most of the time. But I know so many people that, like, they don't, leave their house without their gun. They don't, walk to their garage without their gun. It's like, I'm up here in Seattle, Washington. It's a little bit of a different environment. It's not like the, wild, wild west, so to speak. But, some places are like that. And who am I to say, like, you shouldn't be able to carry your gun and do that when everyone else is doing it? I mean, we're talking about a parade to celebrate a Super Bowl. I mean, who would have ever thought, in your lifetime, you would see a situation that, for the most part, what's up, Booth? For the most part, should be so tranquil and so, like,
celebratory.
Embracing of everybody. Everybody should be on the same page almost more than any, situation you can think of. I mean, just
what
win
other moment you're celebrating a championship, championship for your favorite team?
Like what could go bad? Like what would be your mindset? I mean, that's not for me. That's not an event that you go to with any kind of anger or animosity for anybody. You're going to celebrate like, wow, we won the Super Bowl. So if even in that environment it could still jump off, that just means it's a very real thing. And I can't tell people not to protect themselves, and I can't tell people to put their guns away, but at the same time, I wish it was an environment where that situation could happen, but it's just
it's not reality. Obviously, there's too many guns out there now, so it's not like it's just way too many guns out there, legal and illegal. To say only authorities, police can carry guns only, and then that's a whole different mindset. Well, if only police can carry guns, and when they turn on you, what are you going to do? I mean, that's really. I mean, what kind of life are you living now that you're worried about the police turning on you? That's a whole different conversation. But I was a open carry law. I was in Phoenix years ago. I was in Phoenix with a coworker, and we happened to be kind of on a business trip. The coworker picked us up from the airport in his car, and I always thought this dude was kind of strange, and kind of like normally I wouldn't go have a beer with this guy. Well, I take it back. I would go have a beer with him, but I'd be leery the whole time I'm having a beer with him. Like we're gonna get in some argument, get some fight, just because the dude was kind of he was kind of strange. I'll leave it at that. So we get in his car, and the first thing he does is take the gun out of his hip and put it in the glove box. I'm like, dog, this is a business trip. Why do you feel you need the gun on a business trip? Oh man, you don't know what happens out here. No, I don't know if you ever been to Arizona, Cleveland. Arizona is spread out.
Yeah.
Arizona is way spread out. So you have to be going to trouble to find some trouble. Like in the pockets of Arizona, like you have to drive to the restaurant district. You have to drive to the shopping. So you have to drive to the trouble. You follow what I'm saying? It's not like it's not. For all my times in Arizona, the trouble was I was never in a trouble area, in a trouble zone. You follow what I'm saying? So you have to get to the trouble zone. We went from the airport to the hotel. Like neither one of us are on trouble zones. Why did you feel you need to have the gun? It was just confusing to me. And like I said, good thing I didn't have a gun. My gun got stolen, by the way, and so because I probably would. But nonetheless, Cleveland, thank you for your feedback on that. What's up, Bootszilla? Thank you for tuning in. Let us know what you guys think of Barry Boots. Let us know what you think about the open carry law if you care to. Did the Chiefs win, Cleveland? Did the Chiefs win qualify them as a dynasty?
Yeah. Okay. They're in the conversation. The 3 out of 4 is the criteria that I believe Brady and Belichick kind of established when they got theirs, as like that kind of put them in that conversation with the Cowboys, with the Niners, with the Steelers, like the 3 and 4.
Well, they got a little work to get to the dynasty that the Steelers.
No. But the 3 and 4, you're a dynasty. You're in that conversation. Now, how far you can sustain it, how many more you can get, that's a different conversation. But yeah, the 3 and the 4 is kind of what separates you from like those other teams that win, Super Bowls intermittently, but not with that level of frequency. That's hard to do.
So if you read my article, fans, Cleveland and I are posting content consistently on voiceofthefans.org, voiceofthefans.org. You can read some articles. You can catch up on the podcast that you haven't listened to. By clicking on the podcast tab, it gives you a list of our podcast going back 279 shows, Cleveland. We have some also videos up there, Voice of the Fans YouTube page. You can access it from voiceofthefans.org. See a list of videos that interviews kind of aforementioned that we talked about earlier with Emmitt Smith and Cleveland's favorite is Terrell Davis. He had to straighten Cleveland out. So there's also articles again, voiceofthefans.org. You can see my thoughts on where Patrick Mahomes stands on the hierarchy of quarterbacks that I've seen. Cleveland, do you agree that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback that you've seen play football?
He's in the conversation, Cam.
No, that's not wasn't the question of what conversation he is. Do
Okay,
you
well,
agree? You agree that he's
So here's my answer to you, Cam, because you keep asking the question, but you want to accept my answer. If you're asking me the question on February the 15th, 2024, if Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback to ever play football, the answer would be no. I don't think the body of work is extensive enough. I think potentially he could certainly get there, in a heartbeat. But right today, if his career and he never played another game, would he be the greatest quarterback of all time? The answer would be no.
Who have you seen throw the ball?
Seen a lot of people throw the ball. It's not about throwing the ball, Cam.
Who have you seen throw the ball like Patrick Mahomes? Who have you seen with the arm that Patrick Mahomes has, his creative ability to toss the ball around the field? Who have you seen throw the ball? And we could just talk about throwing. Let's break this down in categories.
Well, I've seen Dan Marino throw the football.
Dan Marino's pretty slick.
I've seen Aaron Rodgers throw the football.
Here you go. Here. Okay, Dan Marino, I accept the Dan Marino argument. I mean, you could say John Elway has a strong
I've seen
arm.
Peyton Manning throw the football.
Are you really bringing up Peyton Manning, Mr. Noodle Arm himself? Is that what you're really doing? Okay, so you bring up Aaron Rodgers. I'm just going to let's name them off. Aaron Rodgers, Dan Marino, and Peyton Manning. Those are the guys who have an arm similar in comparison to Patrick Mahomes. You would say arguably in that same class. That's what you want to say? Those are the three that you want to say? I mean, you could say Jeff George, but we know. I mean, I can.
Are we talking about that, like just straight arm strength? I mean,
just arm strength, arm talent, their ability to like you say,
Cunningham type. Okay. Is that what we're talking about? Or?
I mean, bring them up. Keep saying them. John Elway, Randall Cunningham. The arm talent, the ability to make all the throws, like how you like to say, to make all the throws on the field, deep throw, short throw, medium throw, creatively. I'm saying just being creative in making these throws on the run. Help me out. I just want you to tell me if you want to just focus on the arm talent. Let's focus on the arm talent. So now you add Randall Cunningham, John Elway to the mix, right? That's how you mix it. That's what you want to do.
If that is the criteria, I don't know what the criteria is.
We're looking at. There's different things that make you a good quarterback, right? Arm strength is one of them. Arm strength.
Troy Aikman with his accuracy. I mean, is he in the conversation? I mean,
again,
Tom Brady.
There's different things.
Tom Brady with the ability to win. How many Super Bowls? You tell me again.
I don't know. What I'm trying to do is break down what it takes to make a good quarterback. And we would start with arm strength. Would you agree on that? Can you agree on that? To be a good quarterback in the NFL, you have to have
arm strength, precision, make all the throws. Yeah.
Okay, so arm strength. And so that's why I was trying to narrow down to these quarterbacks who you say arguably have the similar arm strength to Mr. Patrick Mahomes that you said.
I didn't say similar arm strength. I said that they were in the conversation with regards to being the greatest quarterback of all time.
Okay. So help me out, man. Let's slow down and let's just talk about arm strength. Period. Let's break it down because I want to chalk these guys off the list, off your list. You gave me Randall Cunningham, Dan Marino. You gave me Peyton Manning. Who else you give me? John Elway. Right. That's who you gave me. Right. With the arm strength, just arm strength. Right. That's who you gave me. Did I miss anybody?
No. Let's go with that.
Okay. So we just take these five guys with just the arm strength, right? Who has the mobility that he has? Who has the mobility? You want to say John Elway? You want to say Randall Cunningham has the mobility? Dan Marino doesn't have that ability. As much as I love Dan, you see what I'm wearing today. As much as I love Dan Marino, you see, much as I love Dan, it takes me a lot to say that somebody's better than Dan. But who has a mobility that Peyton or not Peyton Manning that Patrick Mahomes has. Peyton Manning gets knocked off that list, right? He don't have the mobility, right? Randall Cunningham, you want to say Randall? He can stay there. Okay, that's fine. Let's leave Randall Cunningham there. John Elway, you want to say? I mean, that mobility, he wasn't looking quite mobile when Terrell Davis ran for 2,000 and carried him to 2 Super Bowl wins, right? But you want to say John Elway had mobility at this age of his career? Okay, let's say that. Let's leave John.
I mean, at this stage in his career, what's Patrick Mahomes? What, 28 years old?
Yeah. So again, let's say that.
Yeah. I think John had that kind of mobility when he was 28.
Okay, let's say that.
Okay.
Peyton Manning's off the list. Who else we knock off? Dan Marino's knocked off the list. So we're down to Randall Cunningham, John Elway, right?
Sure.
Don't say sure. I want you to agree with me.
I know you want me to agree with regards to who had more mobility,
mobility,
and the strongest arm at the same time. Yes, that's the
okay.
list
We get another one. Bootzilla come in with Steve Young. Good arm. Good arm. I don't know that Steve Young arm
not in the arm strength of Mahomes, but certainly
he had the mobility.
Certainly more mobile.
I mean, we're coming around. Yeah, I'm getting to that, SB. I'm getting to that. That's a good call. He had the mobility. I don't know that is Steve Young. He had precision, so we can. He stays in the he comes in the conversation of precision that you put Peyton Manning or not Peyton Manning. You can put Peyton Manning in the precision category. You can Troy Aikman you mentioned. Where do you put Tom Brady in? Did Tom Brady have the rifle arm and the arm? Did he have the arm strength of the arm talent as Randall Cunningham, of Dan Marino, of it would rival Peyton Manning, of Patrick Mahomes? Where is Tom Brady? Because I know you itching to put him in there. Where do you put Tom Brady in either mobility or
with regards to Tom Brady? I've never really been 100% sure where to put his arm strength. All I know is that when he played with Randy Moss, he didn't underthrow him. He get it there.
You always want to go up to one season he played
because he never really had it. He never really had a receiver in that offense, in that system where he could show it off. But when he had a chance to do it,
so he doesn't make the list. He doesn't make the list of all
sure.
talent. We're opinion.
We're inconclusive.
Tom Brady does not make the list.
We're inconclusive. We're inconclusive.
What?
I'm going to say inconclusive on that.
Okay. Well, the inconclusive is no. He doesn't make the list.
No. Well, I mean,
with
regards to arm strength,
he doesn't get on the list of
he never underthrew Randy Moss. You get it there. And I was surprised.
Again, inconclusive doesn't get you on the list of arm strength. It doesn't get you on the list of arm strength. Okay. Mobility. Does Tom Brady get on the list of mobility? Or when old boy laid him out in the Pro Bowl, did he stop running after that?
I get on the mobility list.
So who do we have? We have Randall Cunningham left with the arm talent and mobility, and John Elway and Patrick Mahomes. Is that what we're down to? Those three guys? Is that what we're down to?
The combination of arm strength and mobility, but of course we're talking about the quarterback position. So
right. Okay, so now let's add in wins.
So the mobility
let's add in W's.
But the mobility is not a prerequisite for playing quarterback whatsoever. It's helpful. You'd like to have that component to the quarterback, but it's not indicative of what a quarterback is, whether he can move or not move.
So if you have a quarterback a la Russell Wilson, a la Randall Cunningham, a la the two-time Super MVP Lamar Jackson, if you have a quarterback who can move around, a la
two-time NFL MVP, not two-time Super Bowl MVP.
No,
two-time NFL MVP.
Two-time NFL MVP who has the mobility. Are you telling me that's not a strength? That's not an advantage?
That's absolutely a strength, but it's not a prerequisite for playing quarterback. That's what I said.
So that shouldn't be considered when you're looking at the top quarterbacks ever to play the game. Mobility should not be one of those things that you look at. Is that what you're trying to tell me now?
It should be part of the decision-making process and part of the criteria, but not the end-all be-all to what makes a great quarterback. No.
So you want to leave? Do you want to leave Peyton Manning on the list? Do you want to leave Dan Marino on the list because they weren't mobile on the list of great quarterbacks?
I'm not kicking them off the list because they're not mobile quarterbacks. That's what you did. That was your separation.
Again, because we're going down a list of separators, we're differentiating this quarterback from that quarterback.
Can't. A 7-year career does not make you the greatest quarterback of all time. I'm so sorry. You can talk me to death. You can talk me in circles. You can try and throw up whatever stats you're talking about. A 7-year window does not make you the greatest quarterback of all time.
What stat at all? I didn't mention what. I think you mentioned stat. You mentioned he hasn't underthrown Randy Moss. That was you bring that up. I didn't mention what stat.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the attributes.
I understand what you're trying to do. I understand what you're trying to bait me into. And
I'm not baiting you. I'm trying to have a discussion.
You know how I feel about an extensive body of work.
I'm trying to have a discussion.
Never going to be the greatest in any sports.
I'm trying to have a discussion.
We've had this Terrell Davis conversation how many times? You're never going to be the greatest to do anything in 7 years.
I am simply just trying to have a discussion on the attributes that make up a good quality quarterback.
Okay,
I don't know why you're being so difficult.
And he certainly
I don't
has.
know why you're being so difficult with me. I don't know you're being.
I don't understand why you're trying to be so definitive about what determines the greatest quarterback of all time in 7 years.
This is a sports podcast show. The fans want to know. The fans want to hear what you got to say.
And this
that's what we do every week. So all of a sudden we can't. All of a sudden we can't break anything down. No, we can't break anything down into nuance now because Cleveland doesn't want to say Patrick Mahomes. Is that what we're coming to?
No.
So we should just say, okay.
What I will say again.
The Chiefs won the Super Bowl, and that's it. Move on to the next conversation. Move on to the next. Is that what we're trying to do?
Finish. If Cam will allow me to finish, there is no such thing as being the greatest of all time in any sport with a 7-year career.
Now who's trying to eliminate who from a list of greatest of all time? It sounds like you trying to eliminate the guy because he's so accomplished in we're going to say 6 years because he didn't play that first year. So he's only been in the league. He's only been playing in the National Football League for 6 seasons. In 6 seasons, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Fans, you can find out this stuff on. If you read my article, you understand exactly what Cleveland's not going to cooperate this evening. We see because he doesn't want to be blown away. But you can find out what I really feel about Mr. Patrick Mahomes. Check out the article, voiceofthefans.org. Okay. In 6 seasons, 6 AFC championships. Anybody else did that? Cleveland. 4 Super Bowl appearances. I just want to know in 6 seasons who's done 4 Super Bowl appearances. Okay, you're gonna give me Joe Montana. You're gonna give me Joe Montana, right? Four times in 6 years. You're gonna Terry Bradshaw. Wasn't there a gap in there? Didn't they win like 73, 74, or 74, 75? Missed a couple years and came back 79, 80.
Four Super Bowls, 6 seasons.
Okay, so who had 3 MVPs, sir? And so that'd be 3 MVPs in 4 seasons. Who's done that? I think there's only 2 guys done that. Cleveland, do you know who those 2 guys are?
I'm sorry. What was the question again?
Who's won 3 Super Bowl MVPs in 4 seasons? Do you know who's done
that? Tom Brady's done that.
Okay, and continue.
I'm sorry, and there's 2 more. You said.
Mm-hmm. There's only 2 that done that.
Oh, so Terry Bradshaw's done that.
Man, the guy Cleveland. I don't know why. I mean, I have to dig this deep to explain to you. He's one of 5 quarterbacks to win 3 Super Bowls. Okay, one of 5 quarterbacks to win 3 Super Bowls. And as much as you like to talk about rings and things, I mean, that should eliminate a lot of people right then. A lot of people off the list. That unfortunately checks Dan Marino off the list. Unfortunately, I mean, that checks Peyton Manning off the list. Drew Brees is no longer on this list. Aaron Rodgers isn't on this list. Okay, so we go to Montana, Bradshaw, and Aikman. Are you going to tell me that Terry Bradshaw is in the argument with Patrick Mahomes? Do you want to have that? Do you want to say that? A simple question. Do you want to say that Terry Bradshaw is in the argument?
From a point where I think Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than Terry Bradshaw was. However, let's not shortcut the fact that he did win 4 Super Bowls in 6 years.
Okay, did Terry Bradshaw have the steel curtain? Did he have the steel curtain carrying him through the Super Bowl wins? Okay, all right, enough said. Enough said. He's not no longer on the list. Troy Aikman, I love you, Troy. But Troy, were you the driving factor of those Cowboys championships? Or was it when you think Dallas Cowboys, you have to say 3 names. You can't say one without the other. And it has to be 3. It has to be 3. You can't say either one of these three. You can't mention either one of the trio without the other. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
It is the triplets, yeah.
Okay. All right. So Troy, you did win. Troy, does Troy have the arm talent that he has?
Accuracy wise.
He's accurate. He's very accurate. Thank you, SB. Yeah. I mean,
yeah. In due time, I mean, he is certainly on that trajectory. He's
waiting
on that trajectory.
That's like standing on the porch and you see it's raining. Standing on the porch and saying, "Is it raining or not? Is the sun going to come out?"
SB23, because you understand where I'm coming from. This is very similar to saying that Kobe Bryant is the greatest shooting guard of all time after the 2002 season.
Thank you, SB. Right there. That should have erased the conversation. Thank you, SB. Cut all the BS that I've been trying to go through. Thank you, SB. Right there. Thank you, right there.
Okay, well, so
you hear him. Listen to him now. Listen to him now, SB. Listen to him now.
So after the first 3-peat, was it the conversation? Was he in the conversation already as the greatest player of all time, or was it after the second 3-peat? After the second 3-peat, well, that's when everybody puts the stamp on the Jordan thing. That's when all the Jordanites come out and are.
But do we have to wait for the second one? Is kind of the point that he's making.
Yeah, you
the eye test right there. Eye test.
Absolutely had to wait till after the second 3-peat because the body of work wasn't extensive enough to make that claim.
All right, fans. You see, Cleveland won argumented tonight.
Yeah, do it for a while. Do it after your 28th birthday. Keep doing it.
He got 3 and 20. You brought up his 28th birthday. He got 3 before he's 28, Cleveland. 3. Now that narrows the list down even further. No. That narrows the list down even further. Cleveland, Troy Aikman is the only other quarterback to do that. And Tom, your guy, Tom Brady has done that. Look
into the camera and say
your guy, Tom Brady has done that.
Look into the camera and say this. If Patrick Mahomes never played another game his entire career, he would be the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL. Say it out loud.
Again, if I was 6'2",
February 15th, 2024,
if I was 230, you would have saw me. I'd be wearing a gold jacket, okay? But I'm not.
Can't.
Okay, you can't play the if game.
That's exactly what you're doing. You're saying on February the 15th, 2024.
I can. Cleveland. Yeah. I can look at outside. I can in the morning time. I can look outside and see what the weather's going to be like. I don't have to wait until the rain actually comes down to say it's gonna rain today.
So Cameron, if he never played another game, he'd be the greatest quarterback of all time today, right?
He's the greatest quarterback of all time right now. Yes, right now today, February 15th, 2024. He's the best quarterback I have seen play NFL football. Period. That's what I want you to say, but you want to wait till a weather forecaster tells you Cleveland is going to rain tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you're going to go outside and stand on your porch. You're going to stand on your porch and wait for the weatherman to tell you it's going to rain, whether before you look outside and see it's going to rain.
Yeah. I need more.
My goodness, fans. Okay, let's so Cleveland just want to be uncooperative today. Exactly. Cleveland just want to be uncooperative. So let's look at the game. Let's look at the game. Did the right person win MVP on Sunday? Because maybe according to Cleveland, maybe Patrick Mahomes didn't even deserve a Super Bowl MVP.
No, I believe that the most valuable player of the game was selected correctly. Yes.
Okay. All right. What was the major factor? What contributed into the Chiefs beating the Niners? Obviously, we looked at some things. Last week, and I asked you what would it take for the Chiefs to beat the Niners. I told you Patrick Mahomes going off would be one of them. Not only did he lead the game in passing, he had 330 yards passing. He added 66 yards rushing to 400 yards in the game, 2 TDs passing, 70% completion percentage, Cleveland. Again, that means nothing to you. You don't want to hear stats, but he had a 99 QBR. 99. Cleveland don't want to hear that. He led the team in rushing, but again, he's just okay. He's just an okay quarterback to Cleveland. He's mediocre. He's slightly above mediocre. But Cleveland, he did admit that he earned the MVP on Sunday. Your guy, I thought the leading rusher would be for the Chiefs to win. I thought it would certainly have to go beyond Pacheco. Pacheco had a so-so game. I think he averaged less than 2 yards a carry. So let's look at it. The Chiefs, do you think Brock Purdy, what's your thoughts on Brock Purdy? Should the Niners, I'm interested to hear, should the Niners be looking for a quarterback, Cleveland? Should they look for a quarterback in the draft?
Cam, Brock Purdy
you're stuck now. You're stuck in that one.
Heck of a game, hats off to him for, trying his best and rallying his team.
That hurts. That hurts. I know that hurts. That hurts you.
49ers as a whole, I wish I could talk a bunch of trash about him, but man, I just feel sorry for him, man. He had so many opportunities to get there, and unfortunate mishaps. I mean, it started with Greenlaw trying to get on the field, rupturing the Achilles, man.
That was ugly.
And fans, I don't know if you recall this, I have ruptured both of my Achilles tendons, so I know exactly what that looks like. It looks real funny. It's an awkward fall. Somebody looking around like, who just kicked me in the back of my leg, and there's nobody there. It was like, whoa.
That hurt them. That hurt them. That happened at the beginning of the second quarter. That really hurt them. Specifically on Mahomes' two late in the fourth quarter and those 2 runs that he took off on.
Yeah, the runs and the Kelsey throws. That
really hurt him.
Deebo Samuel with the with the hamstring in and out, but Cam unfortunately
came in and out. But Steve Wilkes, we're gonna get to the Steve Wilkes conversation, but I mean, SB, I don't know. Did you hear Cleveland's thoughts on Brock Purdy? Can you repeat the answer? Does the San Francisco?
No, I don't think
they need to be looking for a quarterback.
I don't think the 49ers should be looking for a quarterback in the draft per se. And I think that Brock Purdy, certainly played, admirably, gave it all he had.
Admirable. Admirable, he says.
Correct. And unfortunately, when the rush is really on him, he gets a little frazzled and doesn't make the greatest reads. But for me, Cam, and fans, what it really came down to was Jake Moody after the touchdown missing the extra point.
That hurt. That was
that's really where the game changed.
That hurt him. That hurt him. Even still, even with Greenlaw going down, even with Moody missing the extra point, Cleveland, Brock Purdy still had 2 game-winning drives if he wasn't playing against the greatest quarterback that ever played the game. He drove his team down in the fourth quarter to give them a 3-point lead in the fourth quarter, and then he did that again in overtime. Twice he led his team on potentially game-winning drives if he wasn't playing against that man who was the best quarterback to ever play the game on the other side of the field. Would you agree with that, Cleveland?
Well, Cam, I think if he was playing against another Andy Reid coach quarterback in a
whoa,
yeah.
Are you wait time out. I'm not letting you get away with that. I'm not letting you get away with that at all. Are you saying Patrick Mahomes is a product of Andy Reid, and he wouldn't be playing like this with somebody else? Is that what you're telling the fans?
No, Cam. What you said was Brock Purdy would beat anybody but Patrick Mahomes. And I'm just saying Andy Reid also coached another quarterback named Donovan McNabb that I think.
How many times did they get to the Super Bowl?
They got Super Bowl once.
Once out of that was the NFL version of the Atlanta Braves. The NFL version of the Atlanta Braves got there 5 times in a row to the NFC Championship, and it wasn't until who joined their team that they got to the Super Bowl? Who was on that team that took them to the Super Bowl, Cleveland?
Terrell Owens.
And you're going to tell me that was a product of Andy Reid? Come on, Cleveland. Come on, Cleveland. You're better than that.
What I was saying, and I'm going to answer your question again.
Hold on. Wait. Excuse me, fans. I got to work on this, Cleveland. But look
like a buffoon.
Go ahead.
So the question was, would Brock Purdy have lost to anyone else, and other than Patrick Mahomes? And I was saying, well, there was another quarterback coached by Andy Reid named Donovan McNabb that I think he would have lost as well. That's all I was saying. But Brock's a good guy, man.
You guys
he made it to the Super Bowl, and perhaps he may even make it to another one in his career.
I mean, that's a style, though. I mean, that's a style, and that's what guys like Cleveland count on him. Say Debo, that's the best thing he does, and that's how Brock Purdy survives. But Cleveland won't give Brock Purdy any credit because Debo didn't have any big breakaways. You know, Cleveland's going to say,
I know he had some 14, 15-yard runs. They were still doing the sweep.
I'm ashamed of you, bro. I'm ashamed of you right now. You comparing Patrick Mahomes to Donovan McNabb. I'm ashamed of you. I'm literally ashamed of you right now.
That's not what I said. I did not compare those quarterbacks.
You did.
The question was, would Brock Purdy have lost to anyone other than Patrick Mahomes, who you have already anointed as the greatest quarterback of all time?
Right. And you're saying no, Donovan McNabb could have stepped in and did the same thing. But you should be
named Donovan McNabb that I think that team would have beaten, Brock Purdy in these 49ers.
You're lucky I don't have a back slap on here. I don't have the back slap is not one of my options, Cleveland.
Okay, well, hey man, Brock Purdy will have more opportunities to get there.
You should be ashamed of yourself. So, okay. So let's get into it. Does Kyle, I mean, he doesn't deserve to be called Shanahan right now. He's Kyle this week. Is he to blame for the 49ers actually not winning? Because if you see my Twitter page, coming out at halftime, when they have the lead, they forced the interception from Patrick Mahomes, the greatest quarterback who's ever played the game. They forced Patrick Mahomes to throw an interception in the start of the second half, right? In the third quarter. Kyle Shanahan, I'm only calling Kyle. You got to grow up and you got to grow into the Shanahan name now, Kyle. You got to redesign yourself. On consecutive drives, 3 consecutive drives, he had 1 run and 8 passes, and that resulted in 3 punts. I think we talked about Greenlaw. We talked about the missed extra point. I think that's where the game really turned. He should have been running the ball. Christian McCaffrey, who Cleveland has come around, and he said Christian McCaffrey is no longer. He's graduated as special team. He's only been the offensive player of the year. He only had 22 carries, 28 total touches. That should have been. He should have had 32 carries. I think that's when the. Yeah, you got a point right there. Yeah, the muff punt. That was a hard hurt. That really hurt him too. But Kyle Shanahan not running the ball, I think I blame him. Not running the ball. That was the only way. We saw it last week against the Baltimore Ravens by the Ravens not running the ball. Kyle Shanahan, when you didn't run the ball against the Patriots in the Super Bowl, when you had the lead, you didn't run the ball. I figured he had learned his lesson that he would come into this game and run the ball. I said this last week. He did not run the ball. Cleveland, am I tripping? I'm thinking McCaffrey didn't get enough carries. Those 3 drives in the third quarter where before the muff punt of Bootzilla, 1 run, 8 passes. Like, you know what I think about Brock Purdy. But that's not you don't put the game in Brock Purdy's hands. And this is what you wanted to hear me say for the last, 24 weeks in the NFL season. I'm not putting the game in Brock Purdy's hands to win the Super Bowl. Regardless of what I think about Brock Purdy, regardless of how I feel about Brock Purdy, I'm not putting the game in his hands to win the Super Bowl. That's where I think Kyle Shanahan failed. Again, you already mentioned at the top, there was a confluence of circumstances of why the 49ers lost. It was bad luck. It was bad coaching. It was injuries. It was the muff punt. There was a lot of things that played into it, but they still had a chance to win the game, and they were still in position to win the game. They didn't run the damn ball. They didn't run the damn ball. We're going to get to the Steve Wilks. I'm going to get to the Steve Wilks incident because we know how shitty that was. But again, one of the biggest factors that they didn't run the ball, Cleveland. What do you think about them not running the ball effectively?
Cam, I'm not going to second guess or question what Coach Shanahan wants to do with his offense. He knows full and well what is the highest and best use of all those players in any given situation. Steve Spagnuolo, defense coordinator on the other end, did a hell of a job, bringing pressure, kind of disguising, some of those looks. McDuffie, University of Washington, played an incredible game.
He did. He played a good game. I can't take anything about that. But you get a lot. You get Cleveland.
In regards to running the football, maybe this wasn't there, Cam. Christian McCaffrey, he has to have. He has a sweet spot of carries, right? It's that 25 frame. He's not a bad athlete. So you have to give him a little bit of rest. They try to switch up and go Elijah Mitchell here and there. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not here to second guess Kyle Shanahan, an offensive, genius master.
Do you have anything on the game, fans? Cleveland, do we have anything on the game?
Did you and I? Yes.
Yeah. What do we have on the game, Cleveland?
It's a pound of ribs.
And that, fans, you see, you understand exactly why he's saying this right now. That I think that clarifies exactly what Cleveland's point of view is. All of a sudden, they didn't run the ball enough. Oh, he's not going to second guess Coach Shanahan. Now he's coach. He ain't called Coach Shanahan in his whole life. Okay, man. Your Coach Shanahan, again, who says I have to be better when it counts, has been outscored in the second half of Super Bowl games. He's supposed to be an offensive genius, offensive wizard. In Super Bowl games, fans, he's been outscored 24-79. And Cleveland doesn't want to put any blame on Coach Shanahan. He wanted to put any blame on Coach Shanahan because he knows his team best. Cleveland, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. So in that game, Cleveland, do you think do you want to blame Coach Shanahan for taking the ball first out of overtime when his quarterback drives down and scores drives down and gives them a 3-point lead, and then the defense drives down and gives up only 3 points. Only 3 points to the baddest quarterback to ever play the game. Only 3 points. Do you want to give Shanahan the blame for taking the ball first and giving the having the Chiefs go second in overtime? Do you want to blame Shanahan for that, or was that somebody else's decision?
Again, Cam, I'm not going to second guess what Coach Shanahan had for his team. He knows what's best for his team. He knows what they were capable of doing. I think that he wanted the ball first to kind of establish kind of what the benchmark was going to be for what the Chiefs needed to do. And he probably thought, had a lot of confidence that his team was going to score a touchdown. So, put the pressure on them. But unfortunately, that's not the way that it worked out. They were only able to get a field goal. And, he will always be second guessed for the rest of his career. But unfortunately, that was the decision he made. I'm not going to second guess him in his offense.
Yeah, Cleveland, I can't believe it. I mean, I know where you're saying this. You're only saying this because you had the Chiefs win. I know that's where I know that's what you're saying right now. You don't want to be honest. You refuse to have the conversation of who is actually the greatest quarterback. You've been difficult. You've been real staunch and stuck in your ways and real stubborn and not willing to have a constructive conversation on what establishes a good quarterback. You don't want to say that. All you want to say is, the sun's not out, so I don't know if the sun's shining all day. That's all you want to say. Yeah,
that's not what I'm saying. You're saying the sun is out. It's white hot. Is this the hottest day we've ever had in the history of the world? I don't know. That's all I'm saying. It's quite hot though. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Kelsey bumping the ref? Anything there? I thought that was a bad look.
Andy Reid?
He bumping and yelling at Coach Reid.
Yeah, that's typical Chief stuff. That they,
Aldis, are you jumping off the bandwagon now?
I'm sorry.
So how Steve Wilks gets scapegoated for that loss? Was it Steve Wilks that was calling the pass plays in the third quarter? Was it Steve Wilks that limited Christian McCaffrey to under 22 carries in the game? Why do you believe he got scapegoated? Or was it him or me? Do you think that was coming down from John Lynch, him or me?
Oh no, I think it had to be somebody. Somebody had to be held accountable, and obviously Kyle Shanahan and his offense are not going to be the ones to be the culprit of the blame. So yeah, of course you have to put it on the defense.
The team with the greatest quarterback that ever played the game scored 12 points in the second half. Actually, Brock Purdy scored 12 points in the second half as well. So the team with the greatest quarterback who's ever played the game scored as many points as Brock Purdy played. As Brock Purdy did. And are you tired of shitting on Brock Purdy?
Oh, yeah, like I said,
have you had enough?
Like I said, Brock had a heck of a game. And hats off to him. He tried his hardest. We'll see if he can get back to a Super Bowl.
How would you grade these players in the Super Bowl? What do you give your guy Deebo Samuel? What do you grade him at?
Oh, he gets a B.
A B? A B? How we get a B?
He played good.
Three rushes, 8 yards. You're good with that?
I thought on one of those sweeps he had like a
2-yard catches, 33 yards. So he had a total of 6 touches for 41 yards. You like that?
Okay, I thought on one of those sweeps he had a much more of an impact. Excuse me, I didn't have the stats right in front of me.
That's a great line. That is a fantastic line right there. If Travis was done, that is a fantastic line right there. He be in anger management right now. That is an awesome line. Okay, SB. I love that line right there. Thanks for tuning in, big dog. That is a great line right there. I'm gonna have to clip that one. If Travis' name was Dante, he'd be in anger management right there. Hilarious. So eight touches, 41 yards get you a B. I gave him a C. What does Christian McCaffrey?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would probably give him a C right now, given the.
I'm saying in the game, in the Super Bowl game.
That's what I'm saying. I can't rewind, man. Slow down. I'm just saying. I didn't know that those were the stats. Like I said, I thought he had reverse a sweep that got more yards than that. I thought he was a little bit more impactful, but if those are his stats, those are his stats. Those are average stats.
His longest run was 9 yards. He had the longest catch for 12 yards.
Okay.
But yeah, that was a C.
So then I walk that back. That's a C performance. With regards to Christian Jackson McCaffrey, yeah, certainly A minus.
A minus, B.
Would have been an A, but there was the fumble costly.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that was early.
Had a touchdown, ran a touchdown. I mean, he was killing it. Overtime, yeah. I thought he was just gonna run down their throat. Unfortunately, they stopped him a few times, and had to kick a field goal. But I thought he had a good game.
The Chiefs corners, McDuffie, Snead. What did you give them guys?
Oh, they get A pluses.
Yeah, definitely. McDuffie. Oh boy, this is second year in the league. This is Snead, I think, third year in the league. McDuffie about to get paid, bro. He's about to get paid. Travis Kelce, what do you give Travis Kelce?
B. It's a B.
Memphis, the Memphis Grizzlies just beat Dame. Dame gets ripped in the final seconds, down 3. Coming up the court, Dame gets ripped. He tried to get it back and heave up a 3 from the logo, and it's off. Memphis Grizzlies, without Ja, without Jaren Jackson, with Gigi, I don't even know Gigi's last name. They beat the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll get to their conversation later. In their final game before Gigi Williams, the Memphis Grizzlies beat the Milwaukee Bucks. Oh my goodness. That's Milwaukee Bucks. We're gonna have a conversation about them. Nick Bosa, Chase Young. Your boy Chase had a couple sacks early in the game. Do you bring him back? You bring back Chase Young? Nick Bosa, Chase Young. What do you think?
It depends, Cam, on what the next defensive coordinator wants to do. You don't want to give Chase too much money, and if that's what he's asking for, then no. If it's one more,
I was disappointed in Nick Bosa. I was disappointed in Nick Bosa for a couple reasons. Specifically, on the 4th and 1, again, after Brock Purdy had drove down and gave his team the lead in overtime, the Chiefs have the ball, 4th and 1, and they come out, and a great play by Andy Reid to kind of it was an RPO, but in that situation, you have to think that Mahomes is going to have the ball. I mean, you got to get to the quarterback. And Chase, and excuse me, they didn't even block Nick Bosa. They did the ball fake. He ran straight to the running back. Totally ignored. The ball went the other way. You chasing, crashing down like you're going to make a stop. With the ball going the other way, Mahomes danced. He didn't even have to dance. He ran for 6-7 yards before it was in touch. You know that play I'm talking about?
4th and 1, yeah.
On that play, Cleavon, as a contained man, you're supposed to get as deep as a ball for that specific reason. If he ball fakes it, now you're as deep as the ball is. Mahomes couldn't do anything. You would have sacked Mahomes. You would have had a sack. You would have had a sack right there. If you go, I learned that, Cleavon, in playing at Rainier Playfield. Coming off the edge, you go as deep as the ball because you're the contain guy. Nobody else is there to contain. He crashes right down, try to chase the running back down. Mahomes comes out and could have threw it to Kelce, and he took off and ran it for 7 yards to get the first down. And you see, if you watch the video, Chase crashes, and then when he sees Mahomes run, he throws his hands up like this, palms in the air. That was your fault, buddy. And then after the game, he says we were confused, we were discombobulated, we didn't know what to expect. Bro, that's something I learned in elementary school. The contain guy, or excuse me, in Pop Warner football, the contain guy coming off the edge gets as deep as the ball carrier. You get as deep as the ball carrier, you run right into Patrick Mahomes, who has the ball. And then he goes and says, we could have been better prepared. No, you could have did your job. If you did your job, the San Francisco 49ers win the Super Bowl. I get another pound of ribs. But he didn't do his job. And then he wants to, and that's why Wilks got fired, guys. I see you guys talking about, but that's why Wilks got fired. If any above any other reason is when Nick Bosa gets on the mic and say we could have been better prepared. That's the reason he got fired. For him to say that, for him to say that was a slap in the face to Steve Wilks. Because that actually is not Steve Wilks' job right there. If this guy does with all outside linebackers, anybody who has contained, he played outside linebacker. The way the game has changed now, he's an edge rusher. His job is to contain, force anything inside. He let Mahomes get outside of him. Mahomes didn't get touched. In fact, Mahomes didn't get touched on the play because he slid. And obviously, you slide, you can't touch a quarterback. So he ran 7 yards before he gets touched because Nick Bosa, you didn't do your job. And for you to get on the mic and say we could have been better prepared, that was a complete slap in the face to Steve Wilks, and that's why Steve Wilks got fired. Agree or disagree, please?
You know, Cam can't agree or disagree. Again, I'm not in the huddle. I'm not in those meetings. I'm not making those play calls. It's unfortunate that Steve Wilks had to lose his job and be the scapegoat and, thrown under the bus for, how the game transpired at the end. But, I don't really know.
Well, I'm telling you. And if for those of you guys who weren't clear, that's why Steve Wilks got fired, because Nick Bosa, he's probably making the most money on the defense side of the ball. Probably making the most money. He signed that big contract, not last year, but the previous year.
Yeah, last year.
So he's probably making the most money on that defense, on that San Francisco 49ers defense. I don't think Warner, I don't think Greenlaw's making that type of money. The cornerbacks aren't, Lenore's not making that money. Who else is out there?
No, it's Nick Bosa makes the most money on the defense. You're right.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, Nick Bosa makes the most money on that defense. You're right, by far.
That's why when he gets on the mic, and you heard the comment he says we could have been better prepared, right? You heard that, right? That's why. That was a slap in the face to Steve Wilks. Extreme slap in the face to Steve Wilks. That's why. There was a couple other plays that happened, but it's simply because again, Cleveland. I learned that at Rainier Playfield, playing outside linebacker. You rush up the field, and you push anything inside. You don't let that man get outside you. So you run it. You contain. You go as deep as that. The deepest man. So if the quarterback goes 10 yards down the field, you got to go 10 yards up the field. And just don't let him get outside you, because he gets outside you, there's no contain guy. And he crashed down. If you know the play, he crashed down, went for the ball fake. Mahomes didn't even give the ball to the running back. It wasn't even a good fake. It just Mahomes was going to keep it the whole way. He went straight down the line of scrimmage. Now, there's some plays that you want to do that. When the running back has the ball, you can run straight down the field and catch the running back behind the line of scrimmage. However, the running back didn't have the damn ball, Nick Bosa. So Nick Bosa, Chase Young, the duo, I give him a B. But Nick Bosa, if I was grading you by yourself, you get an F on that one. Because if you make a tackle on that 4th and 1, the San Francisco 49ers win the game right there. As we know, the Chiefs go on and win the Super Bowl. Good job, Chief. They have the best quarterback again. I'll restate it if you guys don't know how I feel about Patrick Mahomes. The best quarterback they ever played the game. Cleveland's tried to disagree, but he really can't. And he just want to argue with me and not answer the question that I had lead him to the answer. He just refused to answer the question. He was being difficult today.
You look like a buffoon.
But for the Chiefs winning, Spagnuolo, you did say you were correct in Spagnuolo sitting in the house. He was trying to confuse Brock Purdy as best he could. My guy stood in there. Brock stood in there. And again, he had 2 game-winning drives. had he not been playing against the baddest quarterback they ever played. He had 2 games. He did it twice. So you can say whatever you want to say about Brock Purdy, but you can't call him a gamer. You cannot call him not a winner.
Well, Cam, he hasn't won anything yet, so I can't call him a winner per se. He's had a really good, cool start to his career the first 2 seasons. One of the seasons he got to the NFC Championship and lost, and then the second season he got to the Super Bowl and lost. So he hasn't really actually done anything yet. So all that winner talk, you need to slow it down a little bit. He did a great job managing the game. You know what I'm saying? A few plays here or there, they probably could have,
2 game-winning drives. That happened. That did happen.
No. He had no game-winning drives because they didn't win the game. He had 2 drives where perhaps they took the lead for a short moment, but that's not a game-winning drive. And you know the difference, so shame on you for even trying to say that. Like he did something and then was just, it was taken out of his hands or something. No, he didn't.
It was snatched. It was snatched from the Super Bowl was snatched out of his teeth by Patrick Mahomes.
Drives where his team took the lead momentarily until they had to kick the ball to the other team. Yeah, that's not a game-winning drive.
The Super Bowl victory was snatched out of his grasp. Snatched out of his grasp.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't Cameron. No, it wasn't Cameron.
He might go in the office and demand that Nick Bosa gets traded. That, in fact, I might have to make a phone call. He might do.
Maybe he might go decisions when Chris Jones is in his face.
Ooh, Chris Jones. I'm talking about get somebody getting paid. Talk about Spagnuolo made it. Maybe they should have saved some of that money they gave.
Talk about justification for that holdout. Yeah. Who looks stupid now?
They have to come out the pockets. Like if there's any kind of hold up now this season, boy oh boy, Chiefs, they should have saved some of that money for Spagnuolo that they gave Spagnuolo for Chris Jones. Boy, you see this crap, Bootzilla.
He did eliminate him twice, right? Once in the AFC Championship and once in the Super Bowl, and then Montana did do his thing. So Boots is saying, yeah, give us some time. What's the rush? I hear you, Boots. What's the rush, man? Like, why today on February the 15th, 2024, does it have to be all done and settled and done? Man, give this dude a little bit of chance to maturate, have a few more, Goodness gracious.
Boots, I told you might be banned. For some comment you made last week, you almost got you banned off the show. Now you're really walking this borderline, Boots. Now, Bootzilla, you walking this borderline.
Boots, you're fine. You're fine.
You're walking this borderline.
Cam's just a little bit upset and hurt by the fact that his Purdy boy couldn't get across the line. That don't take that too serious.
You're walking the line, Bootzilla. You're walking the line. I forget what you said last
speaking the truth, and sometimes it's hard for Cam to handle the truth. Kind of like in A Few Good Men. Sometimes it's a little hard to handle the truth.
That was a Super Bowl talk. A couple things in NFL. So, Cleveland, Geno Smith is the $12 million roster bonus that's due in the morning. You paying that out? I mean, are you going to the banquet? You going to the banquet, Geno?
I'm not going with him. No, I'm not going with him.
Oh, you're not going with him? You're not making sure he cash the check?
You mean Jody Allen are going? I'm not going with him.
Oh, you're not? I mean, I thought they'd be having a big,
I got
party at Chase Bank at Washington Mutual. I thought they'd be having.
I got prior engagements. I don't need to go with them guys. You guys can go.
Well, as long as he gets it. I mean,
he's gonna get it. It's already been decided.
He's gonna get it, right?
He's gonna get it.
Oh, you don't seem too happy about that.
I mean, it's not my decision. It's not my money.
Oh, you see how quickly he tried to. You see how quickly he tried to disown Geno Smith? You see how quickly? I mean, what kind of loyalist are you?
Whoever said I was loyal to Geno Smith?
I mean, I thought you were a Seahawks fan.
I am.
But you should be showing your starting quarterback some love.
Hey man, look, man, you and Geno and his agent can go out to Daniels and have a cool little appetizer and drinks and whatnot, man. We're not like that. We don't have the kind of relationship.
I see. Woo, he's colder. It's frosty. Well, what's the temperature outside? It's real chilly over here when Geno Smith name comes up.
When it comes to Geno Smith, it's about 32-ish. It's 44 out here right now.
He said 32-ish. It's barely above freezing, huh? Boy, wow, my goodness gracious! And this for the guy who gave you so much excitement over the last 2 years, you ready to just ship him off?
I mean, I am, but that's not my decision to make.
Talking about shipping off. Talking about getting shipped off, boy. Let's get to this NBA conversation. LeBron James sends Draymond to go do his dirty work. Hey yo, Lakem, we might be able to get LeBron. Why don't you call Jeannie? And see if LeBron want to come? Knowing they talked about it 2 weeks ago on one of those podcasts that they do, their agents, and he was obviously on a conference call with Rich Paul. Hey, LeBron, how nice would it be to play with Steph Curry? So he says, yo, Lakem, why don't you call Jeannie? LeBron might be interested in coming to the Bay Area. You know, I heard from a little birdie. So Lakem called Jeannie, and what Jeannie say? Jeannie said, "Oh no,
call LeBron your goddamn stuff and ask him."
I don't got nothing to do with it.
Ask him if he's interested. Is he interested? If he said yeah, call me back.
Oh, you're out on him too, huh? SB.
Okay, SB. Yeah, tell like it is.
SB, you're out on him too, huh?
Yeah.
Man, what do you got? You going with Drew? Bootilla said you going with Drew. I mean, what are you gonna do? Or you guys? Oh, you guys looking at Penix? You guys looking at Penix in the draft with number 15?
Hey, that's way too high for Penix. No.
Ooh, I mean, that's not gonna be a good look. We're gonna be talking about quarterback drafts in a little bit. We're gonna talk about.
I saw you try to sidetrack the conversation. Yeah, Jeannie said, "Yeah, call him."
Mm-hmm.
And gave him LeBron's number, and LeBron said, "What's up?" It's like, "Oh, I heard you want, you interested in coming down here." He's like, "Nah, cuz not really."
I mean, why would he send LeBron? I mean, why would LeBron send Draymond to start that ruckus?
To make Draymond look like a fool?
Oh, that's what he do? Because we know Draymond didn't do that on his own. Like, everybody knows that, right? Draymond did not start this conversation on his own. As much as Draymond liked to talk, he's not going to ruin that bag with Rich Paul and LeBron. So you know Draymond didn't do that on his own.
Yeah, Draymond's capable of anything. He's an emotional, basket case. So I can't really speak on what Draymond is capable or not capable of doing. All I know is when the conversation got real serious, you need to say, "Well, call him in." Call him, see what he said. If he say he's down, call me back. And she didn't get a call back.
She didn't even look up from her desk, did she? See LeBron? What? Call him. I don't got nothing to do with this. Hey, so tell me this. You always say they got a partnership. Yeah. When does Jeannie's biopic, does that come out when? In August, September, right before?
I'm not sure. I think they're still trying to cast the role of Jeannie. You know what I'm saying?
Is that it?
Okay. It hasn't been,
But there's gonna be a biopic come out on Spring.
I can't say right now, Kim. I can't say right now.
You can't confirm or deny?
I can't confirm or deny.
Jeannie got a biopic coming out, y'all.
I can't confirm or deny.
You talk about SB, you talk about book that. Geno got a biopic coming out on Spring Hill. It's gonna if it's not this summer, I'll be blown away. If it's not before the beginning of the season, next season, you know what they're gonna do? You know what? I know the perfect time they're gonna release that. The perfect time they're gonna release it. They're gonna try to steal the shine when Intuit Dome opens up. When Baltimore opens up, they're gonna try to steal the shine by releasing a biopic. Watch.
Same night.
Watch. They're gonna release a biopic as soon as crypto goes dark. They're gonna release a biopic. They might have a viewing after crypto when Intuit Dome
at the crypto when the Intuit opens up, huh? That would be cold blooded. That would be cold blooded, wouldn't it?
I mean, come on, book it. Book it. This biopic is gonna happen. No, no, it's not winning time. It's gonna be Genie. It's gonna be Genie. Genie Bus. The bus miss. Whatever you want to call it. No, it's just gonna be Genie. One name, Genie. Right there. Everybody gonna know, especially in Lakerland, who they talking about, because there's only one Genie. Right? It's only one Genie. The only other Genie is I Dream of Genie, and that's not even the same name. That's gonna be Genie, right? Yeah, that's gonna be cool. I see what's going on, Spring Hill. I see what's going on. I see you guys. Tell me what you Spencer did when he signs with the Lakers. Kyle Lowry signs with the Sixers. He goes back home to Philly. Who's gonna have the biggest impact?
Kyle Lowry.
You think he's Kyle Lowry? You think so?
For sure.
I thought Kyle Lowry's game is kind of gone. That's what Miami. I thought the game was gone when he left Toronto. Like, I was not impressed with him in Toronto, but he was there for so long. I was not impressed. He won some games from Miami. I was. You think Kyle Lowry's gonna have a bigger impact than Dinwiddie?
Yeah, I don't really foresee Spencer Dinwiddie having a huge impact. I mean, we'll see.
I mean, he's gonna give you the points that you wanted from the points you wanted from grandson of Jarrell. He's gonna give you those.
Austin's gonna get back there. I mean, if he can take a little bit of pressure off of Austin, not have to do so much.
That's what he's gonna do.
And when these other guys get healthy, I mean, maybe so, but I mean, it is still Spencer Dinwiddie, so I'm not expecting too much.
I mean, before his knee got blown out before he blew out his knee, I think it was in Brooklyn. I mean, that Spencer Dinwiddie was good. Once he blew out that knee, he ain't the same guy. The Timberwolves. Right now, they're tied. They're tied in the West with the Clippers. I think number one in the West. I think they're actually the Timberwolves are 38-16, 70% winning percentage. They smacked the Clippers the other day. Like, Kawhi Leonard played that game. They were fully healthy. And they couldn't get within 10 points late in the game. No. Did the Lakers deserve 2 All-Stars? Absolutely not. They're the number 19 in the West. No, they absolutely did not. Cleveland should agree with that.
No, they have 2 All-Stars on their team, but you were talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves.
No, but I had to, holler at my guy SB. He asked a question.
Well, the answer to that question is Anthony Davis and LeBron James are All-Stars. But
the number 9 team in the West. How does the number 9 team in the West?
Well, I mean, record does not always reflect the talent on your team, as you well know. But you were talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah. Cat does not attribute to Wizarding. Absolutely, he does not. He does not. Yeah, come on now, SB, you know that. But the Timberwolves, I mean, come on, SB, I didn't expect that to work. So we're talking about the Timberwolves, and to your point about Cat, I didn't expect the duo to work. But Cat, they are different guys. Rudy Gobert in the argument for Defensive Player of the Year, he's playing that well. He's playing that well that he's in the argument for Defensive Player of the Year. And Cat, that allows Cat to go out there and shoot the 3. I particularly in my offense, my big man better not leave the paint. He definitely not be better stand outside in 3-point and shoot threes.
Well, you forget Karl Anthony Towns is the biggest player to ever win the 3-point contest, so he certainly has that capability.
Doesn't amount to win. That he scores 6, goes off for 62.
But he certainly has that capability. Yeah.
But come on.
So you can't say you don't want your big man doing that when he can win the 3-point contest.
I don't want my big man doing it. If it were me, he shouldn't have been in the game. If it was up to me.
Okay, but that's
he's contributing.
That's what I'm saying. You're not using him at his highest and best use. Clearly, kind of stepping it out and shooting a three is something he can do.
I would trade Cat Williams for just about any other big man in the NBA.
And he's the best 3-point shooter in the league.
I'd trade him for Robin Lopez, Brook Lopez,
that don't make no sense. If you're the best 3-point shooter, you're the best 3-point shooter in the NBA.
Bam Adebayo.
Why wouldn't you step out?
I trade him for virtually any other big man in the NBA if it were up to me. If it were up to me. However, again, that's what I started to say. I started by saying that I didn't expect the Timberwolves to be as good as they are. I didn't expect them to have the start to the season that they've had. I didn't expect this combination of Karl-Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert to work. But they got Ant-Man. They got Ant-Man, who's been a contributor, as you know. So what do you think about these? Naz Reid is also another guy who's attributed to their success. He hasn't been hurt when he plays. That allows, again, if you sit Rudy Gobert down, now you have Naz Reid to come in, who's a hustle guy, plays great defense, and goes up there, gets tough rebounds. Again, allowing your guy Karl-Anthony Towns to stand outside and wait for somebody to kick it out to him so he can shoot a 3-pointer. That's not what I particularly want my big man to do. However, that's working. That's only because it's in the offense. That's he when he fills in and when he plays behind Rudy or he plays that spot that Karl-Anthony Towns is in. They've been letting that big man do that, and so they're letting him do that. Naz Reid he's a more of a rebounder and play defense guy. He just happened to be good shooting at three, but that's what the league is coming to. They want all these guys to shoot threes. If it were up to me, my big man would not leave the paint. If it were up to me. However, I didn't expect this. So I have to say congratulations to the Timberwolves for doing their thing. And of course, they have Ant, who's going to be rivaling in the next 2 to 3 years, probably the MVP, being the MVP conversation. But they beat the Clippers on Tuesday, I believe it was. Clippers came back last night and beat the Warriors in a contested game where the Warriors were up by 10 with 4 or 5 minutes to go, and the Clippers, on the strength of Kawhi Leonard didn't play, Paul George got fouled out. It became the Russell Westbrook and Norman Powell show. With Norman Powell, I think he had 4 3-pointers right there in the fourth quarter. And came. Oh my goodness, good one. Now I'll get my perimeter players to shoot the 3-pointers. How about that? Nonetheless, Norman Powell. It was a Norman Powell Westbrook show. That won that game for the Clippers last night against the Warriors. You probably didn't watch it, but the Clippers have now finished with a 67% winning percentage, 68 if you round it up. They're tied for second in the West. They're 1 game back behind the aforementioned Timberwolves, 7-3 in their last 10. This is the best record the Los Angeles Clippers have had before All-Star break. What's your thoughts on the Timberwolves and the Clippers? Go ahead, Cleveland. It's on you.
Well, with regards to the Minnesota Timberwolves, that's fantastic. They have the #1 seed in the Western Conference, and
does sound like you're a believer.
Hopefully, they make it that their goal to hang on to that until the playoffs start, and then that should get them past the first round for sure. With regards to your Los Angeles Clippers claim, I mean, I don't know if you know how you sound, Cam, but when you say stuff like this is the best record the Los Angeles Clippers have ever had going into the All-Star break, it means that you're reaching for other accomplishments that aren't there, and so unfortunately you have to settle for the best record, the best record they've ever had going into the All-Star break.
Boy. boy. He won't let them live
Lord.
at all.
And so, you know, you're sitting there kind of stuff. It's like, oh,
he won't let these guys live at all.
Congratulations, man. This is the best record you guys ever had going into the All-Star break. That's great, man. I hope they can get out of the second round. We'll see you there.
Boy, fans, you guys hear this guy? He won't let the Clippers live one bit.
This is the best record they've ever had going into the All-Star break.
So you don't want to, you don't want to praise progress? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, the optimism must be incredible out there, man. Because this is the best they've ever been going into the All-Star break.
So the T-Wolves is one. OKC and the Clippers are tied for 2. Nuggets are behind them in the Eastern Conference. Top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference. The Nuggets have 19 losses. The Timberwolves have 16 losses. So just a couple games in these guys. Who do you believe in most? Or the question is, I have down who do you believe in most? But let me ask you, who finishes first in the Western Conference?
Oklahoma City.
Ooh. So they're at 54 games right now. They got 30 games left. It's kind of like a sprint right now. You know, we're at the halfway mark, or this is past halfway mark. It's kind of like a sprint right now. So they got 30 games left. These teams do. You got OKC finished with the number 1 record in the Western Conference.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's a lot. That's a lot. Okay. The Cavaliers, the Bucks, the Knicks, and the Sixers. Before I get to the East, the conversation with the East, I'm gonna try my best I'm gonna try my best right here. Not be biased. The Boston Celtics, 43-12, best record in the NBA. The Boston Celtics have won 2 games by 50 points this season. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced in the Boston Celtics. I'm not convinced that when they need to win games, I'm not convinced that the Boston Celtics will win games. Whether it's the playoffs or down the stretch, they look good until they don't. I'm just not. I've seen them toil around. You talking about a team that plays with their food? The Boston Celtics play with their food. So they're 43. They got the best record in the league right now. Much better than I anticipated. I didn't expect the boy to be so good. Porzingis, I didn't expect him to help out as much as he has. The Boston Celtics. I admitted that a few weeks ago. I see you, SB. You got the Timberwolves finishing number 1. So you're a believer in that mix. Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, and Catman and Ant-Man. You're a believer in them, huh? Okay. Boston Celtics. So, I mean, are you convinced that Boston Celtics is going to remain the best team in the second half of the season?
Without question, Cam. You heard how dysfunctional those other 3 teams were that you just spoke on, right? Philadelphia 76ers don't have their best player. They're not going to have him for quite a while. The Milwaukee Bucks decided that they were smarter than everybody else and fired their coach and put in Doc Rivers, and that's gone horribly so far, and it's going to continue to go horrible. And then the other team you mentioned was the New York Knicks, and they don't have a go-to player.
Well, hold on. Time out. So you're not a believer in... Yeah, there you go. I agree with that one, SB. I agree with that one. You're not a believer in Brunson? You're still not a believer in Brunson?
No, he's not a go-to guy, Cam.
Cleveland, who's been the best player in New York in the last 20 years?
For the New York Knicks in the last 20 years?
Yeah.
Carmelo Anthony.
How long? So Carmelo Anthony, it took 118 games for him to score 3,000 points with the Knicks. How long did it take Jalen Brunson to score 3,000 points?
Man, I don't know. 44. Is that the criteria for being a go-to player?
No, you're talking about go-to guy, and you're going to tell me that Carl Anthony is the greatest. This
I'm
came out
sorry,
of your
how many scoring championships, how many scoring titles does Jalen Brunson have?
Exactly what I'm saying. Is exactly my point right there. So you want to throw out this stats of how many scoring champions does he have? But what I'm trying to tell you is Jalen Brunson has scored just amount of points as Carmelo Anthony has in the same amount of time with the New York Knicks.
Okay, well, he hasn't had the same type of impact or presence on the team or the game.
Well, Carmelo Anthony had as much impact on the New York Knicks as Karl Anthony Towns has in the Minnesota Timberwolves winning. Okay, and that close to nil. Okay, because I don't remember the Carmelo Anthony playing in any conference finals. I definitely not that. He definitely didn't play in any finals in Denver. Well, excuse me, he did. He got made the conference finals in Denver. His first or second year
He
did play in the conference
finals in New York as well. That one year with Tyson Chandler and them.
That 1 year. That 1 year.
Either here or there. I mean, I'm so sorry. How many times has Jalen Brunson been to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Well, he's only played in Eastern Conference for 2 seasons. So he went out the second round last year, and I expect the New York Knicks
to go out in the second round again this year.
Well, let's see where they are. This is only his second year in the league, but I know Dallas is missing him.
It's not his second year in the league. It's his second
year in New York. That's what I meant. Second year in New York. Yeah, I kind of Cleveland kind of shit on the Bucks. Remember, it took the Clippers a moment before they had to acclimate the system into the system there. And with the Clippers,
and they're playing great, and they're playing great so far in this regular season, man. They've caught fire. They have team.
But that's what I'm saying. So you have to give Doc a few games, at least a couple weeks to kind of get the guys in rhythm.
We've given Doc like what 2-3 weeks now.
I mean,
it was 30-13 when they hired him. What's their record since then? Like what 4-7?
I mean, tonight's loss against against Memphis Grizzlies, that's inexcusable. That's totally inexcusable.
Where is all this defense he was supposed to be bringing?
3-7.
I mean, I don't
3-7 the last 10 games. Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh. And the only team with a worse record than that
is the Washington Wizards.
No, excuse me. Toronto, Charlotte, and Detroit have the same record. The Philadelphia 76ers have the same record, but as you know, as you mentioned earlier, they without their big man. They without the MVP. But I expect that to change around. I don't expect it to stay that way. I expect them not next week, obviously, because it's an All-Star game.
Yeah, now Doc got to go in and try and coach an All-Star game and hobnob with all the.
No, I don't know that. I don't know how that's work. He can't be in the league. He can't be a coach for 2 weeks and go coach an All-Star game. Like that's weird. That's weird. That's weird. Mm-hmm. No. I knew who I knew exactly who the greatest Nick was. You say I thought you just said Carmelo. Yeah, no, I knew he was going to say Carmelo. He had no choice but to say Carmelo was the best Nick over the last 20 years.
The last 20 years starts in 2003.
Yeah.
Allen Houston does not have an extensive body of work. I mean, a little bit there, but
they made the final. They made
the final. God.
I mean, they made the final, but I knew he had to say Carmelo. SB, he had to say Carmelo.
They made the finals in '99. Come on.
What? And we're not arguing. Nobody. SB has to apologize.
And your comment is that Allen Houston took him to the finals in '99.
Right. When was the last time the Knicks were in the finals? When was the last time the Knicks were in the finals? Carmelo Anthony didn't do that. So to SB's point,
not in the last 20 years.
So to SB point,
that's what I said.
Again, Carmelo Anthony. So I don't. We're talking about getting somewhere.
I'm so sorry. Maybe I misunderstood the timeline of what you were talking about. I think you said the last 20 years.
I did. We could have I could have told you the last 30 years, and you still would have said Carmelo Anthony.
Last 30 years. I mean,
you still would have said Carmelo Anthony. If I asked you who the best scorer on the New York Knicks, you still would have said Carmelo Anthony.
Into your Patrick Ewings, your Allen Houstons, players of that stature. You said the last 20 years.
Cleveland. If I said 30 years, you still would have said Carmelo Anthony.
I would not.
you would not have said Patrick Ewing. Because you would have gave me how many scoring titles have Patrick Ewing won?
Been to a championship. Allen Houston's been to a championship. Trail went to a championship. He said last 20 years. And then you come backtrack and give me Allen Houston.
No. I didn't do that. That's what our guest did that. Was Allen Houston with the Knicks 20 years? No, he wasn't. That's his argument right now. Oh, wait, hold on. Boots, where are you located, Boots? Are you in Renton? Bootzilla, are you out there in Renton? Because you keep defending this dude from Renton. We need a investigation, Bootzilla. Where are you calling in from, big dog? Where are you calling in from? You might be a plant, come to think about it. So, again, the point I was making, I wanted you to bring up Carmelo Anthony. The point I'm making about Jalen Brunson is in his 3,000, in the same amount of games as he's played with the New York Knicks, he scored 3,000 points. And it's only, I want to say Earl the Pearl Monroe, Carmelo Anthony, Jalen Brunson has done it in 118 games. So he's scored just as much as Carmelo Anthony has. And so you want to say he's not a go-to scorer, that disproves your point right there. He is the go-to guy on the team. The problem with him is Dallas he controls the pace of the game. Dallas misses him because they need somebody to take the ball out of Luka's hand, out of Kyrie's hand. He could get more assists. He can get more teammates involved. That's his downfall. Obviously, he's only 6'1", if that. But his downfall more so is that he doesn't do enough to get his teammates involved. His assists for a true point guard, his assists need to be somewhere in the 8, 9, 10 range, and he's hovering around 6. So he can get his teammates more involved. But he is their closer. He is their score guy. So that's why I wanted to bring that up. That's why I wanted to clarify against Brunson why you say don't have anything. But to your point, the Cavaliers, do we believe in the Cavaliers? Although the Cavaliers underperformed last year in the playoffs when they got Spider. They got Spider Mitchell, the two big men. And why my man with the fro?
You're missing out on Jared Allen and Mobley. Yeah,
Jared Allen and Mobley. That combination, they underperformed in the playoffs last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that if they played quietly, if they finished number 3 in the East, I think that would be an ideal spot for them. However, they're much better than right now. They're second in the East. They're behind the Celtics. But I would be happy with them finishing number 3 in the East. They're Milwaukee, who has been disappointed, obviously. The Knicks, who you're telling us don't have enough. The Sixers, who lost their MVP for the season, it looks like. And the Pacers, who the Pacers probably aren't there, right? We agreed the Pacers, they're 6 in the West or 6 in the East. That probably is right there. Nobody expect the Pacers to be contenders. I wouldn't. Would you expect the Pacers to be contenders at this point? Even though they got Halliburton, they got Siakam. I wouldn't expect them to be contenders this season. Do you?
Maybe that first round, we'll have to see those first round matchups, match up.
Yeah, I don't. Even with Obi Toppin and Benedict Mathurin, I don't expect them to be contenders. They'll win a couple games in the playoffs. I don't expect them to be contenders whatsoever, unless they play Boston and Boston just chokes all over themselves, which is very capable. What they're very capable of, but I don't expect them to be contenders. So the Cleveland, they've been on a run. They've been 9-1 in their last 10 games. So they've been on a run to vault them up to this position here. Spider Mitchell's been on a killer pace, and again, I think because they underperformed last season, they kind of have a point to prove. So we should expect this run to continue with the Cavaliers. So Cavaliers, Bucks, Knicks, 76ers. Who do you believe in most? It has to be those Cavaliers, right?
No, I would believe in the Bucks and the 76ers more than the Cavaliers or the Knicks.
Really? Even the 76ers are hurt without their big man?
He's coming back eventually. We're not sure what seed they'll be by the time he gets back.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's going to be late. He's not going to be in shape. He can't work out because it's a knee issue. So he can't work out. I don't know how much shape he's going to be in. And it easily comes down to the Boston and the Bucks, huh? Okay. Yeah, Carmelo. Yeah. So you're missing the point, SB. I wasn't saying. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Carmelo to begin with. Again, I think he impacted winning as much as Karl Anthony Towns, in my personal opinion. But Cleveland loves to believe that all these scoring titles, his ability to score 20 points a game every time he goes out on the court is a big deal. Which, again, I'm not so sure because that didn't amount to wins. And proven to the fact that he's been to the Western Conference Finals one time and he never made it there with the Knicks before in the Eastern Conference Finals. So that proves my point right there. Yeah. Hey, man. I mean, I don't know whose side you on, Bootzilla. I don't know.
He's just on the logical side of sports, is all.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out still.
It's the logical side of sports.
You don't trust it. You don't trust the Cavs at all in the playoffs. Again, I'm saying they got kind of have a chip on their shoulder.
And fans and Bootzilla in specific, Cam gets really, really caught up in what happens in the regular season and doesn't really realize what the regular season is for. But every year he's has to get smacked in the face with a dose of reality that the regular season and what you're doing in the regular season is not a direct correlation to what you're going to be able to do in the playoffs.
So why are you talking about the most scoring? Whoever has the most scoring championship.
The question was, who was the best Knick in the last 20 years?
No, but Cleveland, I've heard you talk about the applaud Carmelo Anthony for having X amount of scoring champions. Like, that matters. You just in one breath you're saying what you do in the regular season doesn't matter, but I know you've given Carmelo Anthony a lot of credit for what he's done in the regular season. So, I mean, which one?
I give credit to the fact that he had a skill set where you could put in a Sharpie pen.
I got you, boo.
Right, have the number 25, and it will be over every game.
Okay, but that didn't amount to wins, is what I'm saying. That never amounted to wins.
When you get to the playoffs, you have to have something that's intangible, that it's more than just schemes and depth and, renegade plays and, drawing up stuff on the little clipboard, man. You have to have that dude. And the Cavaliers,
and he's never been that dude. Carmelo's never been that dude.
Again, you keep switching back and forth. That's not how we got to the Carmelo conversation to begin with. The Carmelo conversation started with who was the best Knick.
Yeah, and that was it. But I knew what you were going to say. That's the only reason I asked the question.
That have nothing to do with playoff basketball. I did not mention him in the same breath as playoff basketball.
Oh, okay, all right. So your little soliloquy about Cam doesn't understand playoff basketball was. No. I mean, I'm not sure who was that for.
No, clearly,
who was that for? Who was that for? Cam only brings up regular season.
You don't understand playoff basketball, but you will.
Oh, okay. I'm
going to explain to you again. Going to write an incredible article come April. It's going to blow your mind.
Okay. So, what's the best story? The best story or biggest story of the first half of the NBA season? Is it the Knicks in their play and then climbing up to fourth place? Is it the Magic? They're in AC now, but they did have a little run. The Magic did have a little run. Is it the Magic for what they're doing? Where are the Magic at right now? They're in AC. What's the biggest story in the West? Is it Wemby versus Chet in the Rookie of the Year award? Doc to the Bucks. Is it the Clippers?
Oh, by far it's the Los Angeles Clippers.
Oh, here you go. Yeah, that's about right. There you go. That's about right.
That's possible. I mean, his best defense was outscoring the other opponent that he was playing against.
That's right.
Not question. He was not a lockdown, shutdown dude. But no, the biggest story is Los Angeles Clippers and the way they've been able to develop that chemistry. Everybody getting along. Those LA boys, at home, feeling really good about themselves, launching themselves into the new arena coming up next year. Got all that Ballmer momentum, but behind them. Ty Lue believes in himself again and what he's able to do, X's and O's. That's been the biggest story of the year so far.
And since we're talking about playoff basketball, what do you expect the Clippers to do in playoff basketball?
I expect them to lose in the second round.
It's on tape, fans. It's on tape, okay? It's on tape. Best story of the year before he got hurt was Embiid going for his second MVP. I can't argue that one.
35 a game. He was killing him.
Yeah, I can't argue. And if you haven't heard me say it, Bootzilla, I said this a few weeks ago. What impressed me most was the interview, and he said the best players, and maybe it wasn't a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months into the season, and he said the best players in the legends of the game have more than one MVP. That told me that he was playing for another MVP title and to carry it, has wins and MVP, have more than one MVP, and they have a finals championship. Were they going to win the finals? I don't think so. But if you play and to get another MVP, that sets them apart from the competition. And I like the way he was playing. I mean, the Philly was really balling with Maxey. I'm not sure that Kyle Lowry is going to be an appropriate. I mean, he may be a coach for Lowry, but I'm not taking the ball out of Lowry's hands, out of Maxey's hand to give it to Kyle Lowry. I'm not doing that. I'm not thinking that Lowry's going to be able to play next to Maxey and kick in some points. So that transaction, I really don't get it. So I was impressed by that. I like the way he was balling, and yeah, the injuries that's terrible. As my man Pavio would say that. He doesn't play enough. he doesn't play enough, and yeah, that's right. I couldn't think of who the acquisition. I couldn't think of who they picked up. But yeah, Hield, that was a good pick, and so that backcourt again. To further to my point, that backcourt of Maxey and Hield. How does Lowry fit into that? Lowry doesn't fit into that.
Well, Cam, he could be their mentor.
That's what that's the best thing he brings to the squad.
He can he can bring him wisdom and experience.
That's what he brings.
Plus, he can take them to places in Philadelphia that they're not familiar with.
Well, I'm hoping that with the bank account that these men have, that they should have been everywhere that Lowry could take them.
No, he's like the Udonis Haslem of the Sixers. He can take them places they wouldn't ordinarily be able to.
Okay, if another person, they need Tobias Harris to step up. Mm-hmm. I mean, they need to rely on him to up his average. If they can get him to up his average, they can get Buddy Hield to contribute, and they can get Maxey playing at a high pace. That could put the 76ers back on track and hold on until Embiid comes back. I mean, but that's kind of a big if. We've been waiting for Tobias to take that next step.
Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey and Kyle Lowry can hold it down until Joel Embiid gets back.
No. You're including Kyle Lowry. I'm saying Maxey, Hield, Buddy Hield, and
Buddy Hield. Another former 3-point champion. Yeah.
Buddy Hield, he's over 40% from three.
Yeah.
Like he's been a legitimate 3-point shooter in the NBA. If we can
add another 3-point champion to the fold.
Yeah. I mean, I like Hield. Thanks for reminding me, Bootzilla. I think that's actually a great addition and to really help them out. And again, if they can just get more out of Tobias Harris, that's a good trio. I like that trio right there. Mm-hmm. They need a big guy, but we'll see what happens. Wemby in chat. I mean, Wemby just had his first triple double, and he had a triple double on blocks. Now I thought I have to do some research. Shame on me, fans, that I didn't do this research. But I thought Hakeem Olajuwon had a quadruple double.
It's true.
So maybe the triple double he got, it wasn't in blocks because he wasn't on a list that I saw. It was Ralph Sampson.
Well, it's not a quadruple double.
But no. The point I'm making was he had a triple double, but 10, one of those double digits was blocks. And so I guess I just answered my question. I guess I just have, because it was Ralph Sampson had it and some other guy, I can't remember. It was only 3 people to do that. Ralph Sampson, Wemby, and then somebody else were only the one to have the double digit blocks. That was impressive though. That was impressive feat. But is he gonna be able to catch Chet? Because if the OKC Thunder finished with the number 1 seed in the West, like, you have to give Chet that Rookie of the Year award, and SGA has to be in serious consideration for MVP, right?
Both are true.
Did somebody need to go check on Scoot Henderson in witness protection? Is he okay? I mean,
I don't know what Scoot's doing up there in PO. I think there was some injury, some type of, getting adjusted to the environment, but whatever's going on, it hasn't been great. So,
did Shaq deserve to have his jersey retired in Orlando?
Thought that was a little premature. I thought that was a little over the top. I didn't really know where that was coming from. He had 4 or 5 good years there, but man, I don't know if that's enough to get your number retired. That's wild.
Yeah, I don't think it. No, who would you give it to, Bootsilla? If you don't give it to Embiid, obviously was leading the league in the conversation. SGA has to be in that conversation. If they get to number 1 in the West, like, how are you going to keep it out from SGA?
The MVP's a joker. You guys know that, man.
He's gonna get it.
Yeah.
Even if the OKC Thunder,
even if the OKC Thunder win, number 1 seed in the West, which they're not, we'll see. But
interesting.
Yeah, it's a joker.
Did you hear about Isaiah Stewart getting arrested for punching Suns Drew Banks?
Yeah, when's the last time you saw somebody get arrested for an altercation between 2 NBA players? That's weird.
Yeah, that's really weird. I mean, it was in Phoenix, so maybe
I understand, some league punishment, but like, you're going to jail, like, hands behind your back, nah.
Yeah, he was detained and let go. Like, yeah. But what's going on, dog? That you getting in fights and you're not even playing.
I mean, frustration playing with the Detroit Pistons.
No, he
just the whole time.
I guess that is, huh? Frustration just boiled over, huh?
Yeah,
Dallas.
Plus, these guys are real sensitive these days, so who knows?
Dallas can't be playing in the play-in tournament for Luka to win the MVP. Luka's gonna have to go crazy and get them to number 2, 3, or 4 for him to be in consideration.
I don't know if he has to go that high.
I mean, I'm just saying there's too many better options.
Scoring, was he averaging like 33, 34 a game? I mean,
the team is in the playing.
Yeah, Cam. I get that, man. I get the record wise, it should reflect that. But
but you
otherwise, it can only be one of the players on one of the top 3 teams that can win the MVP, and that's just not true either.
SGA is playing incredible. You can't take it from SGA and give it to a guy in the playing tournament.
Depends on what Luka does.
Again, he has to get him out of the playing tournament. He has to get him in the top. He has to get him in the top seed, top 4 at least. Come on, give me a break. You can't take it from SGA and Jokic and give it to Luka, and they're in the freaking playing tournament. Come on.
Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, if it comes down to it, if Luka stays right there in the 6-7 place, yeah, he can't get it over guys who's consistently balling and making a difference. Come on, man, that don't make no sense. Tell me while I'm pulling this up. Tell me what you're looking forward to most this weekend in the All-Star weekend.
Steph versus Sabrina, man. The shootout.
Before the whole 3-point contest, before the dunk contest, Steph and Sabrina.
Mm-hmm.
Does Sabrina have a chance of winning that one?
I haven't heard like what the parameters are. Is she going to be shooting from her line and he'll be shooting from his line, or?
She said she's gonna shoot from the men's line. I say give them both the have them both shoot from to hinder Steph, have him shoot with the girls' ball.
If they're both shooting from the same line, I think Steph is probably going to win. If they were shooting from like their respective lines, I think she would have got him. But maybe I'm not giving her enough credit for the shooter that she is. We shall see. And again, that was her All-Star game, so she was already kind of in rhythm, right? She had already played half a season. She hasn't really, been playing for a while, so we'll see.
All right, can you see this? I want you to hear this. This is your guy, Doc Rivers. Where's my sound?
At the top there. Got no sound from you, homie.
You can't hear that? You see the screen though, right?
I did. Now it's just a white screen.
You couldn't hear it, Doc?
I can't hear it.
You still can't hear?
No.
Oh, should have shopped that one, guys. Okay, I should have shopped that one first. But that was Doc's feedback. If you want to go to Facebook, Cameron Buford Facebook, one of the reels, that was Doc talking about the All-Star game and why the intensity has gone away. That was Doc talking about. Oh, he's capping. Now that was Doc talking about the players, the lackluster All-Star games. That was a few years ago when Doc was the head coach of the Clippers. I asked him around about this time, like, what happened to the All-Star game? It used to be competitive. When he was in the All-Star game, it was competitive, but now the guys just aren't competing like they once used to. That's essentially what he said. Did you hear about PJ Tucker? When I was I wanted to ask PJ Tucker, but he wasn't playing. No, that was my bad. I should have had the sound right for you guys. My bad. PJ Tucker finally said he had an outburst on IG. All this blank is an effing joke. He wrote in the IG story and got $75K for that because he wanted to get traded. And nobody has traded. The Clippers didn't trade him. I kind of thought I didn't expect him to be on the Clippers so long because he hasn't played since the system been in town. But he's a cool dude. He's a locker room guy, and I guess to Cleavon's point, since I don't understand anything about playoff basketball, maybe he'll show up in the playoffs. Give him some toughness. Give him some 3-pointers. I don't know what you think. What's your thoughts on PJ Tucker getting fined?
It was a little high. I think they were just tired of hearing from him. We'll see if they just outright cut him because they obviously have no use for him. So
they're not going to cut him. They won't cut him. They're not going to cut him.
I mean, do the right thing. He's not a part of this organization, really.
I expected them to trade him just for a bag of donuts because they don't need him. And if they traded him to who you want to trade him to, if they traded him to the Detroit Pistons could waive him and then he can go sign with somebody else. You know what I'm saying? I expected that type of move, but he doesn't play. And PJ can give a team something. Philly could use PJ. With Embiid out, Philly could use PJ to.
He had to be part of the trade going there. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying that's a team they could use him. Like they could use his 3-point shooting, they could use his toughness. But it is what it is. Like they could use something just happened on my computer. Oh, there we go. Yeah, they could use a team like Philly could use them. The Bucks could use not the Bucks. The Bucks actually could use PJ. I was thinking when I said that Orlando, what the hell's going on? Orlando could use PJ Tucker. They need some toughness, a veteran to play with these guys. So he could be used around the league. I just don't understand why they're trying to hold on to him. Sixers don't need him. Nah, PJ can still play D. PJ's a tough man. He can play D. He's kind of an enforcer. He's a modern day enforcer.
The Suns can certainly use him. They could use a little bit of toughness over there. Yeah,
the Suns actually
teams that could use him.
The Suns actually could use him. There's room for him to play.
Fits in that 305 culture as well. Yeah,
there's room for him to play, but the Clippers may just be holding on to him and say, no, we're not going to give away this guy who could help a lot of teams. Yeah. We're not going to give him away now. If you guys want to give him something good for him.
Used to holding on to, accessories he doesn't necessarily need,
Yeah. Yeah, we got it, Boots. We got it. Yeah, PJ would fit. He'd be a good fit for the 305. Cleveland, let's before we finish our NBA, let's look at some of the things that we talked about preseason that we want to kind of our takeaways from the preseason. So if I can get this correctly and pull up our list of what we was talking about in the preseason. So in the preseason, Bucks and Celtics race for number one, but this was pre-trade. And we see the Celtics are there. The Bucks, they're number 3, but I don't think they're competing for the number 1 spot. The Suns' development, that's kind of been disappointing, right?
They're getting healthy. They're starting to come along. They're like 4 or 5. It's about kind of where we thought they were going to be.
College basketball, man, I've been watching more females college basketball than men's college basketball, so not a whole lot. If you're talking about girls, men's or women's, what are you talking about, Bootsilla? The Suns 5. The Suns are 5 in the West. 7-3 their last 5. They're 22 losses, so 33-22. What's that?
But they're how many games out of 4th?
Out of 4th, 3 games. 3 games.
So 3 games back in the 4th spot?
3 games behind Denver, yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't watch a lot of men's basketball.
I haven't watched a lot of men's, Boots. I've been trying to get into it, but I mean I've been watching a little bit of ACC basketball.
Syracuse beat North Carolina. I saw that.
I was kind of trying to follow Houston for a minute, and they kind of started falling off. Kansas is not what they have been in the past. It's just hard to follow men's basketball because the turnover is so high, and the portal doesn't help either. So, and then a lot of the better players go to other leagues to kind of carry their development. So, men's college basketball has been a little bit hard to keep up with, but like to Cam's point, women's, because they stay longer and the players you have a familiarity with the programs and the players within the program, it's a little bit easier to kind of follow them.
So this what you call it? It's had a more adverse effect. The portal has a more adverse effect for college basketball than football, obviously. And the what you call it is going to be a scramble. The tournament, Miss Tournament, the 64, right? March Madness. That's going to be a scramble. Like who?
I think it will be a lot more unpredictable, given the fact that there's probably a little bit more parity and no real dominant.
A lot more parity.
I think the guy Edey at Purdue is probably the best player that you've heard of. After that, it kind of
are they going to collapse again?
Ross.
Are they going to collapse again? Can they get it done? Like I don't know what you think about Edey.
I think he's a force to be reckoned with in the middle. I think his game is somewhat limited, athletic, with regards to his athleticism. But I think he'll be a decent pro.
You think so? He might be too slow a foot to be good in the pros. His feet work he might be too slow. I don't know. We're gonna see if he looks better in this tournament because he doesn't dominate these guys. To your point, in the regular season, he's not dominating these other teams like he actually should. Right? Is he a senior this year? He came back. He came out last year.
It was his last year of eligibility. Yeah.
So he should have came out last year. He didn't. He decided to go back. Okay, I'm not mad at you going back. I actually think that there should be an age limit to join the NBA. It makes the product so much better. But he went back. Not many players do, and for his game to develop. I mean, I thought him going back was smart versus the kid who was in Villanova, who went back, who came out because he had a couple of good games in the tournament. He came out and then he went undrafted. They're Villanova not Villanova. Connecticut's a big man. I don't remember his name, but he should have stayed in school. He decided to come out and he didn't get drafted in the whole draft, and now he's not playing anywhere. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This tournament is going to be wild because who do you pick? To Cleveland's point, Edey's probably the best player that we know of. They were at least number one at one point. I mean, how many times has the number one seed lost? Like, you can't follow these guys. There's no continuity with these guys because, they're one and done. So some of the things that we looked at, Clippers' health is something that we looked at. Now they've been relatively healthy and they brought in the system, so that kind of changes that team. Can Denver defend their title? Well, I don't think Denver is, they're just getting through the regular season. Like, right? They're just getting through. They're not putting a lot of focus on the regular season. They're just playing it out and waiting till the playoff time to kind of show you who champions are, right? Would you agree?
Yes, very much so. We'll have an article on them around April as well.
Trailblazers growth. There has been none. I asked you guys about Scoot Henderson. He's in the witness protection. Warriors and Chris Paul, that mix there. Well, Chris Paul, he played for a month? He played for 7-8 weeks and then got hurt, and he's been out for that same 7-8 weeks. So it's not been a good mix. Draymond been in and out. Draymond's a wildcat. Kind of sick of Draymond, y'all. I don't know about you guys. Are you guys sick of Draymond? I've heard enough for Draymond. LeBron versus AD. LeBron and AD's health. Like, AD has played 52 of their 56 games. Like, so he's been healthy. LeBron has, been spotty. So AD has been healthy. LeBron didn't play against Utah a couple nights ago. AD had 37 and 15. So he steps up. But again, I don't want to put it on AD, but if he's had a good game and the team doesn't win, like, who do you blame? Like, who do you blame? They beat Utah, but who's Utah? Big Vic, Wemby's debut. Obviously, he's looking good. Houston's growth. Houston and OKC's growth is something I was interested in seeing. OKC is obviously taking. It looks like they have taken the next step. They acquired Gordon Hayward. Like they did that, saying, okay, we need an additional scorer. Like that's that can help them guys. They needed kind of a more veteran player. They got a veteran player. His problem is obviously, can he stay healthy? So I think OKC is kind of took the next step. Houston hasn't done. I said they should be number 6. They should be the top 6 seed just on talent alone. Well, Udoka, they kind of been less than improved. Dallas is at 7 seed at 32 and 23. Houston is at number 12 seed at 24 and 30. So they're not even 500. So that's not what I was expecting. I expected them to be better than that. So I wouldn't say they growing as OKC has. Will we see a full season from Zion? Zion has been playing. They're 33 and 22, 60% winning percentage. Right now they're 6th in the West. Zion has been playing. What's your thoughts on Zion this season?
So far, so good. Very quiet. Not a lot of blips on the off the court situation. So that's a good thing.
Fatherhood's been good to Zion. You get over Zion's back.
See, now you're on his personal business again. See.
James and the Sixers, we have that down there, but as we know, we got to move that out. James has been traded, so we had the Clippers, and not Clippers, but Grizzlies in that situation. We saw they tonight beating the Bucks. I mean, good win for the Grizzlies. Terrible loss for the Milwaukee Bucks. Horrible loss. Dame Lillard, like at this time this was drawn up, we didn't know what was going to happen with them, so he got moved to the Bucks. So that kind of summarized kind of some of the topics that we wanted to look at the beginning of the season. Which anything else? Anything I missed, Cleveland?
No, not from the beginning of the season. We have to recalibrate after this All-Star weekend and kind of see where we're going. But I think we're kind of all on the same page, at least. I am. It's all kind of, there are a few things that I have a few surprises about, but not something so much that I need to put my finger on and really pay a whole lot of attention to. I mean, they're very cool storylines through the season that kind of get us to a point of anticipation once the playoffs start, but I haven't really seen anything that kind of really shakes my mind with regards to how the playoffs are going to unfold.
Okay, well, we have All-Star weekend to go this weekend, so next week we can kind of create a list of what we're looking forward to seeing in the second half of the season. Cleveland, we need a break, or you want to jump into this week in history?
Let me take a quick 4 or 5 seconds. I'll be right back.
Yeah. What's good, fam? Thank you guys again for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. Give yourself a round of applause. Give yourself another round of applause for sticking with us. Right now, so we're going to go on break and give you a little introduction. Well, I'll give you this listen of what I got on the table. Why I haven't been eating. I'll be eating next week. And now you're going to take Jared Goff over Brock Purdy.
Oh yeah, and this Detroit offense, he looks extraordinary.
Mm-hmm. Extraordinary.
Cleveland.
If I could slime you, pour the slime like they do in Nickelodeon. If I could pour the slime over your head right now, because you can't even keep this in. Yeah, you and I have any personal bets right in on this game?
Personal bets, yeah. I bet that the San Francisco 49ers would not represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. 2 pounds of ribs.
And this is probably week 8 or 9, I believe it was, when Brock Purdy was on his MVP stretch, and I was forced to amend my Super Bowl prediction. I did have the Eagles going into the season. I had the Eagles versus the Chiefs going into the season, admittedly so. But I was forced to amend because all the sling and mud that was thrown over Brock Purdy's name. I amended my bet and said Brock Purdy would lead the San Francisco 49ers to this NFL Super Bowl this season. I said that it had to be week 6 or 7 in Cleveland. And where are we at now? We're in the NFC Championship game, 1 game away, right?
Right.
And you expect Jared Goff to get in the way and Aaron Glenn, who hasn't seen the field in 30 years? You expect them guys to get in the way? Come on, man. Come on, man. Stop it. So there you have it, fans. I keep forgetting to go get my ribs, but there you have it. That's the reason I'll be smacking next week on the ribs. You meant Purdy need a pass to bounce off somebody's helmet. But, that's kind of the how the ball bounces sometimes, how the ball hits the punting team or the punt receiving team, the ball hits dude in the foot, and the McLeod just doesn't fall on the ball. Instead, he tried to pick it up and run, and he muffs it, and the Chiefs get the ball inside the red zone. They score, and Wilkes get fired. Like that was his fault. That's the way the ball bounces sometimes. Nonetheless, I did say around week 7 or 8 that Brock Purdy was going to lead the San Francisco 49ers to the Super Bowl, represent the NFC in the Super Bowl.
Which is why you get to eat so well.
Well,
but then you got a little greedy, and now you don't get to eat so well.
Oh, right. I got you. My bad. I got you. And he would have been in the Super Bowl. Well, I mean, he would have been in second Super Bowl. But yeah, Cleveland tried to go that route, but it just didn't work out. Cleveland, I'm sorry. So fans, each and every week, man, we play our numbers games. We kick the show off with our numbers game, and then we have This Week in History. I like to give you guys some history, some stuff I didn't know about, some stuff I do my research, man, some stuff I didn't know about, and I challenge you guys, please help me out. If you hear anybody doing this segment where they're going back in history to give you a history lesson of what happened, most of these are some of these are what's happening in sports. Some of these, most of these are what's happening in Black history. Anybody doing that, let me know. I want to know about it because I don't know about it, and I listen to podcasts. So anybody else giving you guys this week in Black history, this week in history, each and every week, each and every time they hear the show, let me know. So we started off this week, Cleveland, February 13th, 1920. The first successful organized Negro League was established at a YMCA in Kansas City, Missouri by Andrew Rube Foster, who served as his president. 2013, 1920, the Negro League started. February 15th, 1958, Henry Lewis became the conductor and musical director of the New Jersey Symphony, becoming the first African-American to lead the major symphony orchestra. 1958, February 15th. February 13th, 1977, Joseph Eyre Sarles III, become the first Black floor member of the floor broker in New York Stock Exchange. He worked on the floor with the partners Nuremberg, Loeb and Company. So first Black floor member of the stock exchange or floor broker in the New York Stock Exchange, 1977, February 13th. Cleveland, you heard any of those issues, any of those scenarios?
I have not heard of that one, any of those.
Here's one you probably heard of. February 14, 1991, African-American inventor Donnie G. Johnson patents what? The Super Soaker. That goes on to sell 40 million units, making it the top-selling toy in the U.S. in 1991 and 92. The Super Soaker. Did you ever have a Super Soaker?
Absolutely. I
never had a Super Soaker. Never had it. Always wanted one. Never had a Super Soaker. 2017, 1977, Virginia House of Delegates votes unanimously to retire the state song "Carry Me Back to Old Virginia," the hit that glorifies slavery. I didn't know that. I was in Virginia at the time. I don't remember hearing the story. February February 17, 1997. I was still in Virginia at the time. Never heard of that. 1995, February 9, 1995, Bernard Harris became the first African American to walk in space. Did you know that, Cleveland?
No.
1995, February 9, 1995, Bernard Harris. And here's kind of a trivia question for you. 2016, or excuse me, February 16, 1972, Wilt Chamberlain hit the 30,000 point mark during a game with the Phoenix Suns. So that clearly, Cleveland, when he was playing against those carpenters and accountants and dentists, that clearly was before anybody else scored 30,000 points, right? So two-part question for you. Where does Wilt Chamberlain rank on the all-time scoring list in the NBA? NBA all-time scoring list. Where does his he has more than 30,000 points. Not a whole lot more, but he has more than 30,000 points. Where does he rank on the all-time NBA scorers? Wilt Chamberlain.
At present, he's number 5.
He's number 5. Busilla says he's number 4. You're both wrong.
Oh, I know I'm not wrong.
You're both wrong. You're both wrong. He's not that high. I'll give you another chance.
On the all-time scoring list.
On the all-time NBA scoring list, I see you go. I see. Oh, look at him going to Google right now. Go to Google if you want. You'll see.
I'm not going to Google. I'll say it out loud. LeBron.
Okay. So that was the next part of my question. Who was ahead of him?
LeBron.
Who was ahead of him?
LeBron.
Okay.
Dirk.
There.
Kobe. Carl. LeBron, Dirk, Kobe, Carl. Sorry.
Boots just gave you one. Boots just gave you one.
I'm tripping. Kareem. How can I leave off?
Okay. So that's 5.
So that makes him 6.
So he's 6? No.
Yeah.
How can you? Come on. Yeah, I mean, how are you leaving off the GOAT?
Michael Jordan has more points than Wilt Chamberlain.
Michael Jordan has more points than Wilt Chamberlain.
Okay.
So
what?
So LeBron, Kareem, Malone, Kobe, MJ, Dirk, Wilt, and then Dr. J is the one who has I should have left that one out there for you. But then it's Dr. J. Yes, Mike got more. Mike is what, 5th? LeBron, Kareem, Malone, Kobe. Mike is 5th. Mike is 5th, yes. So some history for y'all. Appreciate your partnership. Appreciate you guys your participation and cooperation. Cleveland, there's an interesting topic came up today as we round out the show. Should the Pac-12 be treated like the Power 5 conference? I know you heard this topic, right? That I told you they were getting their money. I told you they were going to get their money, even though it's 2 schools. I told you they were going to get the money. But should the Pac-2, be considered a Power 5 conference? You see how you do? How you do your home state like that? How you do your home state? Oregon State and Washington State. They right up there, your neighbors essentially.
It's not a power conference. Sorry.
So they can't even participate. They can't get on this. Wow, you guys are cruel, man.
I'm sorry the musical chairs left them out in the cold. That's unfortunate. But no, they're not a power conference.
So if they brought over Utah and they brought over who's in the Big Sky? it needs to be 4+.
Yeah, a bunch of big skies. Yeah.
So
no,
they
it's
brought
not-
over Utah,
it's not-
San Diego State.
Not a power conference, no. No, afraid not.
You,
And certainly not Power 5. Who
I
you
mean, they
think-
can't keep their status. They can't keep the Pac-10 status if they just fill out the rest of the.
Afraid not.
They should be able to keep the Pac-10 status
No.
if they fill out because the other guys abandoned them. That's not their fault that the other guys abandoned them.
You know, it's a cruel world. It's a cold, cold world out here, Cam.
Oh,
but no, they're not a power conference.
Oh my goodness! I thought you were a member of the Pac-12 for all your life. All your life you've been
as long as the Pac-12 was in existence.
all your life you've been a member of the Pac-12.
No. As long as the Pac-12 has been in existence,
it's still in existence.
Not all of my life. No, it was the Pac-10 before the Pac-12. So.
Same thing. The same conference. The conference expanded.
It's
So
Pac-8 is actually the Pac-8 before his
So
Pac-10.
you were with them when they expanded, and now they're what's it called?
Now there is no more. They've dismantled. Yeah, there is no more.
No, they disbanded. What's the word for it? It expanded was contracted. Now that they contracted, it's only smaller. Yeah, bring over Boise State, Idaho Vandals.
That's cool, and they can be a conference. They can try and put together a conference, but it just won't be a power conference. Yeah.
Oh, that's crap, man. I tell you what, once you give somebody some food and some food and some extra bucks, they just turn their back on their friends and their friends. Just turn your back on them.
No, I don't recall saying that. We were friends with those other two schools you aforementioned, but that's fine.
All right. So Daniel Kelly, this former scout, he gave Caleb Williams a fourth round rating. What'd you think of Daniel Kelly's rating of Caleb Williams?
He's just trying to get some publicity. Yeah.
So doing a little research, the same scout ranks, and you know how I feel about Justin Fields. He ranked Justin Fields as the best quarterback in his draft.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall who was in Justin Fields' draft?
I recall Justin Fields was not the best quarterback in his draft.
I didn't think so either, and I was questioning his effectiveness in the NFL. But let me read off to you who was in Justin Fields' draft.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
It was just that long ago. You want to take a guess at anybody?
Not hit me. Drafts kind of
come and go. I'm with you. Number 1 is Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, well, he's not better than him.
Second, number 2 was Zach Wilson.
He's way better than him.
Number 3 was Trey Lance.
Ooh, to be determined. So far, way better than him.
To be determined.
We haven't seen Trey Lance on the field, but yeah, at present.
Whose fault is that? He's had opportunities.
Isn't that what I just said, Cameron? Slow down. Yeah, he's better than him.
Justin Fields was drafted number 11. Mac Jones was behind him. Kyle Trask, Kellen Mond, and Davis Mills.
Okay, so just the one. So just Trevor.
Just Trevor was. I mean, that's still kind of to be determined. Like Trevor got some question marks on him this year.
He has some health issues. Yeah.
Okay, he's the only one out of those to lead his team to the playoffs, so that's fair. But yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying, Boots. After last year, that might be a push. Like, so that I mean, that's pretty close. So, dude also said that Lance would be a bust, and so far, yeah, exactly. That's the point I'm making. He did regress last year. To dude's point, he made. He said Lance would be a bust, and you say it's to be determined. Lance has had opportunities to play. He just hasn't done anything with his opportunity.
He just had one opportunity to play. So yeah.
He played. I watched his rookie year. I was at the preseason game when he played the Chargers.
Oh, preseason. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No.
I thought you were talking about regular season games.
No, in regular season games, he got hurt in the first game.
Yeah. Whose fault is that? No, but okay, but you said this guy said that Caleb Williams is the 4th round or the 4th quarterback?
No. 4th. He gave Caleb Williams a 4th round rating.
No. Caleb Williams.
That's what I said. Caleb. He gave Caleb a fourth round rating. Yeah, that's what it said.
Fourth round.
Fourth round rating, not the number 4 quarterback in the draft. He gave him a fourth round rating.
Yeah, well, he should lose his job then. Yeah.
Okay, so he said Justin Fields should be a bust. So we push, and then again, this is just some homework I did. He said Justin Fields
was the best quarterback in that draft.
In that draft, at worst, that's a push with Trevor.
At worst,
Trevor Lawrence.
At worst,
that's a push.
Okay.
Said Trevor Lawrence, or said Trey Lance would be a bust.
So far,
we haven't seen anything from Trevor from Trey Lance.
So far, we could say he's he's accurate with that.
He ranked Brock Purdy number 2 in this draft, the second best quarterback in this draft.
So lucky I didn't just turn. I was so close.
I almost thought and just turned.
But listen. Again, I didn't make this. I didn't put this together. I just did some homework. I should have
just turned this off.
I did some homework. But listen. Okay, do you know Brock Purdy? Obviously, Mr. Irrelevant. Who was in the draft with Brock Purdy? I know you don't want to understand. You don't want to follow.
I don't know. I don't remember drafts like that. Who was in it?
Okay, fair enough. Who was in the? I'm about to tell you who was the quarterbacks that were drafted in 2022. You ready?
Sure.
Kenny Pickett, the Steelers. Brock Purdy better than Kenny Pickett?
Probably so.
Desmond Ridder, the Atlanta Falcons. Brock Purdy better than him?
Brock Purdy's better than him.
Malik Willis, Tennessee Titans. Brock Purdy better than him?
Brock Purdy better than him.
Matt Corral, Carolina Panthers. Yeah, no, I don't even need to ask that question. Bailey Zappi, Western Kentucky, New England Patriots. Sam Howell, Washington Commanders. Any arguments yet?
Not yet.
Chris Oladokun, San Diego, South Dakota State, Pittsburgh Steelers. Cleveland, we're down to the round 7 pick. Skylar Thompson, Kansas State, Miami Dolphins.
Well, now Skylar Thompson, I mean, if given an opportunity, he may be able to do some things. I actually saw him come in.
He had an opportunity. He was in the playoff. He played the playoff games against Buffalo.
Right, that's correct. Right. He was slinging it around a little bit. I was lightweight impressed with him. Mm-hmm.
And then Brock Purdy got drafted round 7, 262. So, okay, you want to say Skylar Thompson and Brock Purdy, 1A, 1B? Right? I mean, so out of 3 things, rank Justin Fields number 2, best quarterback in the draft 2021. And that's a push. Said Trey Lance would be a bust. We have to give him that one. Rank Brock Purdy number 2 in his draft. We kind of have to give him that one. He got his team to the NFC Championship.
Wow. Well, no, that's very interesting. Then some teams are going to be incredibly disappointed with what they did or didn't do.
I mean, shit, Cleveland. You talked about the Carolina Panthers. Somebody had to pay for taking Bryce Young over CJ. I mean, look at the teams that took the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons took Ridder. I mean,
this is everybody. This is the entire league is an indictment.
Right.
So, I mean, when you're the last pick in the draft, I mean, there's no like pointing fingers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I mean,
a horrible draft for quarterbacks for sure. Boots.
Scouting. I mean, scouting in the NFL is such a. They should be better at scout. they should be better at scouting. But I mean,
Especially in a
that's
position that's so important, so critical. Yeah,
they should be better at this. But dude, I mean, you have to. That's 2 drafts back to back. I didn't go through his whole history, but that's just what I saw. The last 2 years of draft. I mean, those are 3 kind of picks that you have to say. Okay, what else you got to say, Dick Kelly? So I'm gonna be watching this guy this season to see kind of what he's looking at. Juwan Howard, Cleveland, 8-17 at Michigan. To your point, Bootzilla. Juwan Howard, 8-7, 8-17 at Michigan. Should he be concerned that he got the vote of confidence from the AD?
yeah, they're not good. And haven't been good for a couple of years, to be perfectly honest with you. If his name was Juwan Howard, he would have been fired already.
I think we kind of talked about this a couple weeks ago, but I asked you again. Caitlin Clark, she broke the all-time scoring record.
She hasn't done it yet.
She broke it tonight.
She broke it tonight?
Yeah, she only needed 8 points, and I saw I couldn't tell you how many she scored tonight, but she did this tonight. Whose record did she break?
Kelsey Plum.
Is she going to be a better WNBA player than Kelsey Plum?
Probably so.
You think? Kelsey Plum pretty bad, dog.
Kelsey Plum can ball.
She's pretty bad. My concern with the women's coming out of college, like we've seen a lot of women score big points. Let me think. Taurasi scored a lot of points. She was bad. She probably is in a different stratosphere. I don't think Caitlin Clark going to be dying at Taurasi.
No.
But I'm just saying, girls who did some things. Paige Becker. Well, she's not done it. She's still in school. She's not done, but she came out a big scorer. I saw her the other day. Chicks was locking her up. I think she played South Carolina. They was locking her up. At her first. Plum was thick and stocky, right? And still able to get to the hoop and score. Caitlin Clark is kind of, I don't want to say frail, but she's thin. Kind of wiry thin. Kelsey Plum had some meat on her bones to be able to get to the rim. Is she going to be able to hit these two? Anescu coming out of school, we thought she was going to burn the league on fire till she blew out her knee, right? Like there's been several girls that come out of college into the WNBA who haven't been what they've been in college. And so I'm not ready to jump on it and say that she's going to take the WNBA by storm. I'm not ready to make that leap. I don't know where you are with that.
Yeah, most of the girls that tear it up in college come to WNBA and tear it up.
Who? Name something. Go give me some recent names. I just told you about Anescu. I think is the last one who was
AJ Wilson tore it up. Stewie tore it up.
She's a post player. She's not a guard. Like she was a post player. Who'd you say? You said AJ Wilson. You said somebody before AJ Wilson.
No, probably Candace Parker. I mean, it depends on who you're talking about. I'm trying to think of a player.
She's a guard, so she's a guard.
But I mean, this is the most dominant guard that you've seen in quite some time, right?
Okay. I can't get. I don't have a list of players to give you that say is she going to be better than this one or that one. Maybe I should create that one next week. I don't know. I don't know where she. I don't know where she stands.
I think she's gonna be a hooper. I think she's gonna be an all-star almost.
But didn't we expect Inescu to kind of come in the league and tear it up after she won 3 of the 4 championships?
A little bit of a work in progress, but what about now? I think she's only like in her 4th year.
Yeah, so I mean her injury, her knee, when she blew out her knee, in her first year, like 2 games into her first year. So
there was a little bit of a transition into it, but not a whole lot. Weren't they in the finals last year? Against Las Vegas?
Were they?
If not, at the very least, Eastern Conference Finals. I thought they were in the finals. I should do more of my research.
Liberty, right? Liberty, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I'll be eager to see how she does. I'll be looking forward to see how she if she goes into the league, kind of cashing in like she's been cashing it in. But there's been some girls who cash in the WNBA guards. I'm talking about really guards. Is really what I'm talking about, not big girls like Candace Parker. Clearly, she had the advantage. Like, she was a big girl who could move and dribble and shoot, and I mean she was kind of a different breed, right? But I'm talking about guards. Kind of really
like we just picked up Skylar Diggins. I think she made a pretty good transition from Notre Dame to the WNBA.
I mean, the other girl, who's the other girl? Was at UCLA. She was better. She had a better career at UCLA than Skylar Diggins had at North Carolina, and she's been better in the NBA. Who's the other guard that Seattle has? Or she's been better in the WNBA. I mean, she actually has rings and things.
The other girl is Jewel Lloyd. Is that what you're talking about?
Who she went from? No, Lloyd didn't go to UCLA. Who's the girl? The point guard. She's a guard. Is she still there? She was a guard. Who's the other guard? Did Lloyd go to UCLA?
I don't remember what school she went to.
Yeah. No, Canada. Canada.
What about Sue Bird, man? I mean, they just retired.
Is there a Canada that went to? Is there a Canada on the Seattle Storm? I think that's their name. I think that's her name. Canada. I think that might be her. I swear, I want to say somebody Canada. I think that's her last name. I'm sorry, fans. This is just something I need to know. Now, this is supposed to be your squad. You ain't been to what you call it game?
I haven't been to a Storm game in a little bit.
Oh shit! What's this damn girl's name? Now I'm looking for the now I'm looking because I want to know the damn girl's name. Hairston Russell. That got Anoka Bumuke. Jewel Lloyd. Okay, she's not there no more. She's not. Yeah, she must have got traded. Yeah, Lloyd went to USC, but Aneka's gonna be Aneka is solid. Yeah, her girl's not there. I don't know shit. I don't know what's. But the girl went to UCLA, and then she went to UCLA, she went to UCLA, and then went up there to. She won some championships with those guys. Like I know that for sure. I know she won some championships with them.
It's drawing a blank.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever it is. All right, fans. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. We appreciate you guys for hanging with us. I want to ask Cleveland about some baseball hostile league. You got anything in Maya Moore catching Sue Bird? He brought up Sue Bird catchings. Yeah, that was she was good. Well, I guess I was focused on guards. Maya Moore would have been a good one. A good argument, Bootzilla. Appreciate you chiming in, Chief. But anything happening in the hostile league, Cleveland?
No, not as late. No,
certainly not for those Mariners, huh?
Nope.
It's a complete crap.
Yeah, that's what those Mariners are. Are you watching Tiger? Are you interested in watching Tiger play some games?
No.
They'll play some rounds of golf? No? Tiger making excuses. His back, his fuse back. I'm kind of sick of hearing this. Dude. Just say I don't got it no more. Come on. The Cubs signed Bellinger, huh? Oh, interesting.
You need to is what he's saying. He needs to sign somewhere, but it's teams have been a little reluctant to do so.
Yeah, he'll be on the team before the season starts.
Thanks, Booth. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no boxing, no big boxing this week. They got a UFC match this weekend, so catch that if you guys can. Enjoy NBA All-Star game or what's left of the All-Star weekend. Enjoy that. Cleveland, like we do each and every week, nobody else is doing this. So nobody is giving you guys a number game at the beginning of the show. Just kind of creative, see where your head's at. Do that for our guests. We do that for Cleveland to see where he's at. Today was a day for him to spit out Carmelo Anthony. But he came with Patrick Mahomes. So for the number 15, I was impressed that he didn't ride that old horse. Also, we give you this week in history. Guys, this is a lot of stuff, man, that just doing my research, I want to. It's a sports show, yes, but at least we can educate you guys, and you guys can take home some little tidbits and maybe win a cup of coffee from one of your coworkers with the trivia questions. So I do that for you guys as well. Also, nobody's leaving you guys with a quote. I love quotes. We'll give you a little motivation, encouragement, or inspiration to get through the week. Here's the quote I'm gonna give you to get through this weekend, Cleveland. Yesterday's home runs don't win today's games. One more time for the people in the back. Yesterday's home runs don't win today's games. That's from the great Babe Ruth. What that says to me, fans, is that you can't count on what you did yesterday to win you any games today. You got to keep reinventing yourself. You got to keep working at getting better. Can't count on what you did yesterday's successes to count today. You got to keep getting better. So keep getting better, fans. As I'm gonna keep getting better, trying to do this show, keep encouraging Cleveland to be a better host and actually answer some questions next week. You know, and agree that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback to ever play the game. It's a work in progress. I got to keep working on Cleveland. You know, you see you being rather difficult early in the show, but I got to keep working at him. So as we get better doing what we're doing over here, I want you guys to get better doing what you're doing. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Give yourself a round of applause. Give Cleveland a round of applause for being part of the show. Bootzilla SB, shout out to you guys for being a part of the show. Anybody who's watching the show and chiming in, we appreciate you guys, your feedback as well. Barry, you chimed in earlier. We appreciate you guys for chiming in. Thanks for sticking with us. And as always, fans, thank you for making our voice your choice.